Fantasy Football Sit Start Show, the best show of the week. Let's go. Christmas morning because it is Sunday football. We've already had two exciting games. We'll recap those while the mailbag is growing. We'll hit my favorite touchdown scores of the day in terms of betting odds, and then it is on to all of your questions for 2+ hours, hitting 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and a little bit extra because I know I got 2 minutes late here. So let's get on in here. Get those questions in. Stuff the mailbag. Already woke up to 10+ questions in there. You love to see it. If you're in here, please consider hitting that thumbs up, the likes, the shares, the retweets. Help us get out to more people. But let's go, Wolfpack. Week 1 is here, and we are about to crush it. Let's go. So ultimately, I'll recap these first few games really quickly, what we learned on Thursday Night Football, what we learned on Friday, and then my favorite scores of the week. So in terms of Thursday Night Football, unless you had Javonte Williams, if your team was bad enough to start Javonte Williams on Thursday Night Football, you're probably pretty underwhelmed. Of course, Jalen Hurts also had himself a great night too, but other than that, you probably were not too thrilled. Dak Prescott going just 21 of 34, 188 scoreless yards. Nothing great there. Encouraged by how bad the defense did look. Encouraged that they were chucking it deep regularly, but they did not ultimately connect pick-ins and all that, those deep shots. So it wasn't a great night for Dak. I'm not giving him too big of a stock down, though. Ultimately, doesn't make the list because I consider this offense. I was encouraged by some of the trends and signs that I saw. Meanwhile, though, Hurts does get a bump up because he had 62 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, in addition to 152 scoreless yards through the air, but looking very nimble, very quick. I loved what I saw from Hurts. He looked faster last night than he did at any point last year. The big winner, of course, was Javonte Williams. Oh, everybody coming at me like, oh, Jadon Blue, what's up next? Great prediction, Wolf. I mean, Javonte had 15 carries for 54 yards. The 2 touchdowns were nice. He had some more bursts than I expected to see, certainly more than what we saw last year at any point. But we're all going ballistic over a guy that averaged under 4 yards a carry. I don't know. I think he did luck into those touchdowns. Ultimately, he probably will stay. I mean, why wouldn't he stay? That goal line hammer all year as long as he is healthy. But I still think Jadon Blue has a ton of upside here. If anyone in your league drops him because he was a healthy scratch this week, go and scoop him up immediately. Miles Sanders did have 4 carries, 53 yards, but then lost a brutal fumble that pretty much cost the Cowboys the game. And I think that's going to be the door being opened for Jadon Blue. He had a huge run, Miles Sanders, a 49-yard gain. Should have scored. If that was Jadon Blue, that thing is going to the house. He got caught from behind, looked sluggish while doing it. So ultimately, I am not bailing on my Jadon Blue love train just because Javonte Williams pounded in 2 scores on a defense that lost Jalen Carter for spitting in the face of Dak Prescott. I'm not overly concerned. I do think Williams is probably going to pay off. I mean, definitely going to pay off his ADP should he stay healthy all year because he will be a solid touchdown threat. He is definitely the big winner. But again, not bailing on Blue. Meanwhile, Saquon Barkley, a fine night, 18 carries, 60 yards, and a score. 4 catches was more than he had in all but 2 games last year. So a little bit encouraging there. 24 yards through the air as well. Moving to the pass catchers in that game, Dallas Goedert led the way for the Eagles. So already it wasn't a great night for the other guys. 7 targets for Goedert. He catches all 7 for 44. Was fine. Certainly in PPR, you'll take it. But A.J. Brown, 1 target, 8 yards. I don't think it came until the 3rd quarter. My God, definitely a little bit of panic settling in. You know what you're signing up for when you draft these guys, but that's why I did not take a ton of Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown in any redraft leagues, and really in best ball, faded both those guys pretty hard because some days they will explode. If this team is chasing points, then they're going to need to take to the air. But you saw it tonight. 3 targets for Devonta Smith, 1 target for A.J. Brown, only 16 yards for Devonta Smith, 24 combined yards between them. Meanwhile, Jahan Dotson, a little sleeper sign here just because there is some contingent upside. I wouldn't ever trust this guy if there was not an injury to Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown, but there were rumblings that he got more comfortable throughout camp and ultimately was really built on that chemistry with Jalen Hurts. Well, he had 3 catches for 59 yards. Again, nothing crazy, but in deep leagues, you're talking, Scott Fish Bowl, those leagues where there's nobody on waiver wires. Yeah, maybe in Dynasty, we don't want to quit too fast on Jahan Dotson. On the Cowboy side of things, CeeDee Lamb, target hog, alpha 1 season. Yes, he had those bad drops. Come on, man. Like, you got to catch those when you're getting paid what CeeDee Lamb is getting paid. But he did still have 13 targets, 7 catches, 110 yards. Should have probably had a touchdown. Probably should have been like a 180-yard day with a score, given those brutal drops. That probably cost the team, if not that fumble for Sanders. CeeDee Lamb didn't do the team any favors either, but still a fine fantasy night and very solid in full PPR. Pickens, meanwhile, 4 targets, 3 catches, 30 yards. I did give him a stock down, as you can see, and a lot of people came at me for that. I get it. Oh, yeah, we saw a deep ball. He had the defensive pass interference. You must not have watched the game. Of course I saw that. That's what we saw all last year. I believe he was top 3 in defensive pass interference yardage gained. But guess what? Your fantasy team doesn't gain any more of that. It seemed to me very similar to that low percentage bombs away after all these reports of yak and the intermediate and short game and expanding the route tree. We just didn't see that. And plus we saw a few minutes where he was acting like George Pickens, fighting and walking off to the sideline, giving it half-ass plays. So ultimately saw a little bit of those Pickens shenanigans already in week 1. Didn't see the diverse route tree I wanted to see. Will he have some big blow-up days in this offense? 110%. I'm not – when I do these things, it's not like suddenly I'm not ever playing Pickens and he's off my big board. But when I'm trying to reflect that when I go to edit my rest of season rankings, which will drop tomorrow at some point, he's going to get a little bit of a bump down because we saw nothing different from what we saw really in Pittsburgh, other than, he should have a better quarterback throughout this year, should be a more pass-happy attack. So, yes, the Pitt numbers will be better than what we typically got from Pickens as the Steelers. I still believe that. But I am, when I was calling him a breakout wide receiver in those middle rounds, can he still do that? Maybe, but he's going to need that more diverse route tree. So I considered him just a little bit of a stock down. And the only other pass catcher of note was Jake Ferguson. He had 6 targets, 5 catches, 23 yards, almost had a touchdown on that hospital ball there. And that was my recap from Thursday. More impactful was the Friday game. Ultimately, some very intriguing waiver wire prospects coming out of the Friday game for this week. And we'll start at the top with Quentin Johnston, leading the way in terms of fantasy points. 7 targets, 5 catches, 79 and 2 touchdowns. We know he is boom or bust, but if you have a healthy bag of him in best ball, sadly I don't. I think I'm about 3 to 4%. Unfortunately, a little light on Quentin Johnston. You got to feel good. Sure, we're going to have some drops. It's going to probably be a little bit of a carousel, but he played nearly every snap, nearly every route, and did very solid on it. Again, 79 yards and 2 scores. Probably not on your waiver wire, but another big stock up was Keenan Allen. Led the Chargers in targets, 10 targets, 7 catches, 68 yards, and a score there. And if you're a Ladd McConkey owner, I wavered back and forth. Do I give him a stock down here? Because he did still see 9 targets, a healthy 26% share there. 6 catches, 74 yards, was running wide open at will. So I didn't feel the need to necessarily give him a bump down. A little concerning, though, that Keenan Allen actually paced this team in targets, that Quentin Johnston scored twice, that Justin Herbert threw 3 touchdowns, and none of them went to Ladd McConkey. So a little bit worried there. But I guess that also then goes to the next big winner here, which is Justin Herbert. 25 of 34, 318 yards, and 3 scores were beautiful. The amount of pass attempts, 34, love to see it. They typically, last year, Greg Roman offense, run heavy all the time. Ultimately, this was a much more balanced attack, which really unlocks Herbert's ceiling. But even more unlocking the ceiling is the 7 carries for 32 yards. I get it, 3.2 points, nothing crazy. But he was running. He looked great. He juked out a defender at one point. He truck-sticked another guy. He talked in this preseason, we wrote about it in the draft guide, about how he wanted to be more like Josh Allen. And he has Josh Allen measurables. I really think Justin Herbert, if he does start taking to the ground with those legs, he could be a top 5 quarterback based on what we saw on Friday Night Football. So loved everything I saw of the Chargers for the most part. A lot of people, okay, what about Hampton? Are we worried right now? 15 carries, 48 yards, only 2 catches, 13 yards, no touchdowns, 8-ish points. Wolf, this guy was going in round 3. What are we doing? I get it. Ultimately, though, Najee Harris just had 1 carry. We look at this. Omarion Hampton had an 80% snap share, 53% route share, and even more encouraging, 90% backfield touches in this game. I get it. Najee will likely ramp up and probably get some touches. We don't get points on snaps. I understand. But the fact that he was on the field as a rookie, making his NFL debut as often as he was, I take that as a huge win. This was a phenomenal Chiefs run defense last year. Perhaps they're the same. They gave up the fewest points by a mile to running backs last year. The Super Bowl, they held Saquon Barkley under 60 rushing yards. So I'm not going to freak out right now about the Chiefs stymieing this rookie running back. I'm going to lean into that usage. And yes, it might drop a little bit as Najee gets rotating in, but I am encouraged by that for Omarion Hampton. And if any of his owners are panicking after a first week, please get out there, make those buy low offers, and go get him on the squad. On the Chiefs side of things, Mahomes ended up saving the fantasy day with a touchdown. I put him as a stock down, and maybe I shouldn't have. The second half, when there was some adjustments to Worthy's injuries, he did play better, and that rushing score was a nice one. But ultimately, I am very worried when you have Marquise Brown getting 16 targets, who does get a rocket ship emoji, by the way. Between him and Quentin Johnson, you're probably looking at your top two pickups. We'll see what happens in this Sunday action, but we might have already learned that right there. But Mahomes did go 24 of 39, 258 yards, a score. But then he did save the day again with that rushing touchdown, 57 yards on the ground, 6 carries. Pretty nice for Mahomes in that sense. But Worthy out. Rashee Rice not back for another 5 weeks. It could be a little ugly here for Pat Mahomes. Holly Brown did, as we mentioned, get 16. Yes, 6 targets, caught 10 of them for 99 yards. Huge night for him. He will definitely be among the top pickups of the week 2 waiver wire. I'd probably lean into him over Quentin Johnson, a little more consistency for at least these next few games. You got to also be feeling pretty good if you have Rashee Rice sitting on that bench and you're just seeing Hollywood Brown rack up 16 targets. My goodness, you should be feeling pretty good about when Rashee Rice gets back into that Amon-Ra St. Brown role. The other last takeaway from this game, oh, Moy Pacheco, not good. 5 carries, 25 yards, looked okay, showed a little more juice than we saw last year. So I guess if there's one positive, it's that. But 5 carries, in addition to Kareem Hunt getting 5 carries as well, a near dead even split in the backfield. None of them doing anything worthwhile in fantasy. In this type of split, you cannot trust Pacheco until we see him gain a little ground, if he gains a little ground on Kareem Hunt. That wraps up Wolfpack. My lessons learned from the 2 games so far. Thank you so much for that. If you could be so generous with a thumbs up button, a heart button, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are watching from, please do consider hitting those buttons. We are going to be on to all of your questions in just a second. I did want to share out my TD parlay of the day. I'll do this every Sunday here. You don't have to parlay them all, but I wanted to at least show the guys I love odds for. I think Brian Thomas, great bet, plus 135. Drake London, plus 150. Malik Neighbors, nice typo there, plus 170, I think is one of the juiciest on the board with improved quarterback play. Week 1, facing a pretty bad. I saw Lattimore get whooped by Kayshon Boutte in practice. So when I went to the Patriots joint practices, I could see Neighbors putting up 2 today at plus 1,200 for that as well. George Kittle, plus 185. He always destroys the Seahawks. Egbuka, with no one really else to other than him and Mike Evans standing there. I think Egbuka is a great bet to find the end zone. I think that game shoots out, so I like playing him and Drake London together. Golden, especially if Jayden Reed ends up getting ruled out, plus 255. I think that is a phenomenal play. There was talk about him becoming the go-to wide receiver for Jordan Love. And then David Njoku against a Cincy team that gave up the most points to tight ends last year. Joe Flacco slinging the rock. David Njoku was the number 1 tight end in fantasy the last time he had Flacco as his quarterback for that stretch run in 2023. So I really love those things. You parlay all these scores together, which, yes, I'm sure one of them at minimum will not hit. But you put all of them together, $10 to win 18 grand. Why not try it out for a Sunday Hail Mary? I need to buy a new car. I'd love for those $10 to turn into a new automobile for me. So great stuff there. If they all hit, go for it, Wolfpack. Best of luck on there. But that wraps up all the takeaways, all the scores right there. So ultimately, it is now on to all of your questions. A reminder, Super Chats do get bumped up. So if you got to be in and out, feel free. It would be so appreciated. You don't have to do it by any means, though. We should be able to hit all the questions we have got. My man Campanelli's in the mod seat, though, checking for those Super Chats to make sure I don't miss anything. And, of course, again, that thumbs up or heart button, all that good stuff really does greatly help us. With 620 of you here already in 15 minutes, you love to see it. Let's get those numbers bumping. We've had a few Sundays where we've hit like 1,000, 2,000 live viewers. It seems like we're trending that way. So happy to have you here. Let's get to the mailbag. Get that mailbag filled up, folks. Any questions, sit starts, waiver wire, rest of season outlooks, whatever you guys want to know. starting with Melchi's Deck asking Tua or Trevor Lawrence. I got to go Trevor Lawrence here. Great game environment, in my opinion, between them and the Panthers. Just two mediocre defenses and offenses that I expect both those offenses to take a big step. I'm, in fact, stacking that game a lot. I love the values in that game in DFS. You got Trevor Lawrence at 5,300, Ted McMillan at 52, Travis Hunter at 5K. I love Brian Thomas at 68. I think that game environment has a ton of blow potential. I believe it's one of the more popular game environments in DFS because of the upside and the low prices there. But I think that Liam Cohen offense, we saw it, the high percentage throws in the preseason. He dialed it up for Baker Mayfield, for never been higher than the quarterback 15 in fantasy, finished as the quarterback 4 last year. And now Trevor Lawrence gets Travis Hunter added, Liam Cohen added. If he's any decent at all, which I'm not convinced of, by the way. So I always hate rolling out somebody I'm not convinced of. But ultimately, if he can be at least halfway decent, Trevor Lawrence has everything environmentally to thrive in this offense. So I'm going there. We did have to cover, one thing. I apologize going right into the mailbag because Tito reminds me there is a little bit of news. That's one thing we cover on Sunday mornings. And so I'll even pull up right here. You can kind of get a peek behind the curtain and just see what type of stuff I do to get to prepare here. I'll put together all the notes ahead of time. So let me present that, share screen, and ultimately week 5 Sunday show. And so this is my recap news, and there we go. So the big running back news here is Christian McCaffrey. I just got to copy and paste the Roto World blurbs here of what to study here. Christian McCaffrey is likely to play. There was a report from Tom Pelissero at one point that some alarm bells are going off. I don't know if this is some sick kind of joke, but he himself, McCaffrey, said it's being blown out of proportion because of my injury history. A little encouraging, but I mean, the last thing anyone who drafted Christian McCaffrey, who you guys know, if you followed me, you followed the guy, it was not me at all. He still could definitely just backhand me all season. But ultimately, this is exactly why I didn't, because last year, this exact thing happened. Oh, it's just a calf thing. Oh, no, it's Achilles tendonitis. We'll see you for all but 3 games where I actually just take a dump on the field for them. So I have no Christian McCaffrey, but if I did have him, I'd be playing him today. It sounds like he's blown out of proportion. Seahawks, nothing special as a run defense. McCaffrey should, when you have it, I mean, you spent your first round capital. I know you have your whole bench at your disposal. There's no bye weeks. I'm not benching Christian McCaffrey. Still a top 10 running back play this week, but ultimately you have to be concerned. And at any point, if he just limps off the field and doesn't return, don't be shocked. I saw Brian Robinson out there on some waivers this week too. Not in my leagues, but a lot of people asking, hey, should I drop this player for Brian Robinson? And the answer is most likely yes. He absolutely needs to be rostered. Should have been anyways, given the history of Christian McCaffrey. But at this point, yes, make sure you have Brian Robinson. He's not sitting out there on any of your waiver wires. Other running back news, Achane is not on the injury report. You love to see it. Quinshon Judkins, he probably stopped playing today. I can't imagine he would be because he just signed his deal, but it is fully guaranteed. Kind of surprised by that by the Browns. And now the NFL will interview him and determine what the response should be. Remember, this battery case did get dropped by the court. And so 2 to 4 games is the initial speculation. I've seen Judkins. The reason I wanted to put this blurb in there is I've seen Judkins lingering on some waiver wires as well. And I don't think it will be too long until he's the true number 1 back there. Sampson, he's an okay change of pace guy. Loved what he did at Tennessee. I think that could be a nice, formidable 1-2 punch, but it will be Judkins, 2nd-round pick, size, speed freak that takes over that backfield. Kyle Monunga is also off the injury report, so in deep leagues, guy to stash and monitor. It's one of those things on Monday night. If you're allowed to roster churn and you have somebody at the end of your bench, you're like, no point in rostering this guy anymore. And Kyle Monunga is going to be a nice stash, the number 2 running back. Apparently, Roschon Johnson is not practicing as well. And so ultimately, Kyle Monunga already beat out Roschon, so it seemed. But still, the fact that Roschon won't even be on the field makes it all the more enticing to pick up Kyle Monunga and put him on the bench to see what happens. Because we know Swift's injury history is not very pretty either. In terms of wide receiver news, Tyreek Hill is off Miami's week 1 injury report. So both him and Achane cleared. Jauan Jennings also removed from the injury reports. Crazy what $3 million in incentives do for a calf injury, but not unhealthy at all. Great to see him out there. He was one of the guys I drafted a ton in best ball. In early best ball season. Still think he could be. I know Ricky Pearsall got a ton of hype by yours truly and so many else out there could see it being him as well, but there is a ton of volume up for grabs. I mean, we used to be taking Brandon Ayuk in round 2 and Debo in round 2, and we got both these guys, Jauan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, in the round 9-10 range, and they're in the driver's seat for at least these first 6 weeks. It seems like Ayuk is week 6 at best, is what Kyle Shanahan seemed to be suggesting. And so I like Jauan Jennings today. I like Ricky Pearsall today. And I love, of course, my man George Kittle, the best pick in 2025 fantasy this season. Jameson Williams, he got that big extension. Nothing really here of fantasy impact other than the Lions clearly love this guy. All this, a monster deal in terms of $83 million suggests just how important he is to the team. Maybe these reports that they're expanding the route tree, that they're growing his role, weren't just smoke. So you do love to see that. Travis Hunter, this was big news from Adam Schefter. We didn't get too many Schefter bombs last night. A little disappointing there. But the reports are Travis Hunter is expected to serve as an every down receiver and situational corner. Things you love to see from a fantasy perspective. I'd have him in my lineups where I have him. I do have him in a few leagues. I really like Travis Hunter, and he's playing the flex for me. There is so much upside for this guy. If he truly is playing as an every down receiver, it's the ceiling is limitless. Yes, I love Brian Thomas Jr., but Travis Hunter is not too far of a step behind, and I love this Liam Cohen offense. So Travis Hunter, let me know if you have questions on him. A lot of people, I got to wait it out, see how they use him. I don't think so, especially after this report. Also only $5,000 on DraftKings, a great play at that price. Packers wide receiver Jayden Reed, questionable for this game. One we need to monitor because he's a big mouth. He ultimately gets plenty of targets, and if he's gone, even that much more open for Matthew Golden to go absolutely bananas. There's rumblings he was already emerging as that true number one. Jayden Reed being out would only help that case, and at plus 255 for a touchdown for Golden, with or without Jayden Reed. I like those odds. I like him even more. Should Jayden Reed get ruled out, coming on a Jones fracture, brutal stuff. And I love Jayden Reed. Don't get me wrong. When he's healthy, love the player, but don't love him with a broken foot. We also have Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman off the injury report. So tonight's absolute barn burner game. You love to see it. And Darnell Mooney is still questionable, so we need to track that news as well. If he's out, Casey Washington in, I don't think we need to do much there. You're probably not playing. I mean, granted, Darnell Mooney did bomb the Buccaneers throughout last season every time they played. There is a case to be made for him as a flex should he be in there, but after not practicing all summer, it's week 1. You should have your full roster at your disposal. That'd be a pretty, and I mean, 14 leagues, deep leagues. Yes, I could see Mooney being a play this week, but you probably don't need to worry about that. And the last couple notes here, likely is not going to be in. A nice bump up there for this one and see what the good folks here. I answer enough sit starts. Let me know in the comments if you're willing to answer my sit start question of the week. J.K. Dobbins or Mark Andrews at flex. I have Lamar Jackson at quarterback as well. And so I'm leaning Andrews for the stack, but Dobbins being named the starter. Tennessee, they're probably going to be running the ball a lot. I like them both, and that's a good spot to be in, of course. But I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to stack them up and go for the Sunday night blow up tonight, but we shall see. Let me know what you guys think on mine. In terms of defense, Snead is questionable. That would be a huge absence. He was out in practice, so it seems like he should be out there against the Broncos. But for Cortland Sutton, that would be massive if Snead does not play. Stefanski says Myles Garrett will be in, so they need all the help they can get to stop the Bengals. It would have been very nice for the Bengals fantasy products. Should have been in. They should still be putting up their points. I sneaky love Joe Flacco in DraftKings, and I like that game to end up hitting a ton of points. So I'm very intrigued by that one. And then the last note here, Christian Gonzalez will be out against the Raiders. I mean, Dante Thornton, 3,600 on DraftKings. Just in general, in terms of a stash, you guys have heard me talk about the 6'5", 4'3" freak plenty of times, but I am in love with Dante Thornton as a stash on my bench. Would love to pick him up right now. He's only 10%. And this is just one last reminder. If you have leagues that allow roster churning, I drop my kicker in nearly every Yahoo league because they allow it. And I pick up Thornton, I pick up Chris Rodriguez, I pick up Ollie Gordon. And I want to see what these guys do. Because by Monday night, we've got Reichert out there in 95% of leagues. We've got Cairo Santos out there in every league. Sunday Night Football, you got Tyler Loop. You can give these guys tryouts throughout the day, see what they do, and then reevaluate your bench and drop the worst one for a kicker. If Dante Thornton blows up for a touchdown and 100 yards today, you're going to wish you had him and you didn't have to pay the $20 fab price to go get it. All you had to do was cut your kicker. Now, granted, I cut like Butker, who had, I think, like 15 points. So that hurt a little bit to see. But ultimately, it's worth it to see what Chris Rodriguez, with Dante Thornton, with some of these guys that I want to get ahead on the waiver wire here and beat the rush. So I really like, and I'm very intrigued to see what Dante Thornton does as well. All righty, folks. That does officially wrap up all the news. Thank you again for going through that. But I know it can inform questions. And Tito asking a question right here about McCaffrey, that kind of reminded me, hey, you have all this news to cover too, Wolf. 960 of you here. We're very close. We're approaching the 1,000-person mark with 25 minutes in. We got an hour half plus of answering all your questions. Do consider that heart button, the thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets, all that good stuff really does help us grow. But again, Tito, I would be playing McCaffrey if I had him. You have to. It's your first-round pick. If you signed up for this experience, you got to just ride it out and see what happens. Yo, Soy Tony, what's going on? Welcome to the show, brother. Getting in early, 3:20 a.m. What are you doing up at 3:20 a.m., Mr. Tony? Need to start too. Love Stroud or Lawrence. Smash the leg, fellas. I'm going to bench Stroud there. That game could be really fun, the Rams versus the Texans. Or it could be just And I'm leaning towards with the broken back Stafford on there. We'll see. Hopefully he looks good and he pushes them and Stroud has to thrive. But I'd like to wait and see how this new look Texans offense does. Ultimately, they could be awesome. It's a Ram-inspired scheme. We've seen McVay-inspired coordinators really have success. But I am still skeptical right there. So I'm going to go Love and Lawrence. I love both those game environments, especially Detroit, Green Bay. I mean, we could see 50-plus total points there, even if his weapons are banged up. Detroit secondary, they lost Carlton Davis, and already we're giving up top 3 points to wide receivers. So I like starting Jordan Love today. And Trevor Lawrence, we talked about. I love that game environment with the Panthers as well. Mediocre at best defenses. Two offenses, I think, are on the rise. I could see that game really getting a points fest real quickly. Ross H., what up? Which wide receiver should I start and which one should I put in the flex? So we got to bench one of these guys, Ridley, Pearsall, and Hunter. And this might be a little surprising to some, but I'm going to actually bench Ridley. The Broncos defense was by far the fewest points allowed to wide receivers last year. And then they add a first-round insane talent where he fell to them in the first round of the NFL draft, a great rookie. So you have Surtain probably shadowing Ridley for a lot of the day. And if not, he's dealing with a first-round, tons of great coverage. I think that defense, as much as I do like Cam Ward and Ridley, and I think that connection will really take off, they're going to sell out to stop Ridley, and they have the guns to do it, in my opinion, in terms of the Broncos. And so I think this is 1 week to wait on Ridley. We'll see him eventually take that number one role. I think it's going to be a good week to buy low on Ridley next week if he doesn't show up. But I'm going to go with Pearsall. I'm going to go with Hunter. Pearsall loses a little bit of shine with Jauan Jennings off the injury report and fully ready to go, but still a great play here in week 1. And then Hunter, as we said, every down wide receiver, let it rip against the Carolina Panthers. I can't wait to see what he does. Commanders defense or Cardinals defense? I'm leaning the Commanders in that case against the Giants, although I am very intrigued to see what Russ Wilson and eventually it sounds like Jackson Dart might even play some this weekend, and maybe Jackson Dart starting by week 2. Would love to see that. But I'm going to go with the Commanders defense a little more. Even if Russ plays, I think there should be some upside there. What's up, Rushing Yard? Great to see you. Thanks for the fire emojis. King Retro's back again this year. Looking to repeat. Love to see the returning champions. There's a reason people come back, and so happy we helped you, King Retros, and now we got to help you go back to back. It's a very tough feat to repeat in fantasy. It's very tough to win a fantasy league in the first place, so to go back to back is an awesome goal, and we're going to help you do our best to help you out there, King Retros. Need one receiver, one running back, and a flex out of these options. Flowers, Jacoby, Sutton, Swift, Charbonnet, and Pollard. So the running back to me is DeAndre Swift. Roschon Johnson seems unlikely to play. Monunga is likely to be in. But I do think they're going to just turn the keys over to Swift and let's see what you do. And you got that Monday night hope factor as well. But I also do love Pollard. So I'm going to go with Pollard and Swift, especially with the half PPR setting. 2 featured running backs right there. So I guess you're flexing Swift, right? Because he's on Monday night. So you put Pollard in there just in case something unthinkable happened and Swift couldn't play. You could go get Monunga or something and get somebody in there. So I'm going to go Pollard and Swift. And then for that final spot, I love Cortland Sutton. I know the Titans defense was very good against wide receivers. I believe the second best other than the Broncos. I still think Sutton, alpha target hog, had 2 drives of action in the preseason, saw 7 targets, 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown in that game with Bo Nix. Back shoulder touchdown, you move the chain guys. That Michael Thomas style role for Sean Payton looks phenomenal. I do really like Flowers tonight. I think that game should be really fun. Obviously, Jacoby Myers intriguing. It's Charbonnet, great, handcuff, but to me, target hog Sutton is where I'm going. My other league is half PPR. If we trust, yes, we trust Achane. Yes, I trust Achane. You're definitely playing Mike Evans. So I have Pollard and Walker and Mike Evans. So you need a running back and a flex. You're playing Mike Evans and you're playing Achane, and you're playing Walker if it's 3 of these guys. Wolfpack, what's going on, Mr. Campanelli? Reminding people of the moderator over there flexing his big bouncer muscles. I love it. If you want a more detailed answer, want to get to the front line, super chats are always welcome and greatly appreciated. Thank you for reminding the folks. And as he says, please don't spam your questions. Campanelli will mute you, put you in timeout. We don't want that for anybody here. Realize I misspoke. Evans and Sutton have swapped in these questions, if that matters. Yeah, you're playing Mike Evans. King Retros. Thank you for calling me the best in the biz, sir. We appreciate you so much for constantly being here. John in Santiago. Good morning. Need a flex between JMO or Travis Hunter, PPR. I'm going to roll JMO. Fat contract money. You can already hear the announcers. Just after getting $83 million, JMO Williams scores a 60-yard touchdown. But that Packers secondary with no Jair Alexander, I think they're going to be Swiss cheese. No pun intended. He really didn't even mean to do that. The Packers, though, they are going to be Swiss cheese. And I think JMO is going to burn right through them. So I go JMO. I love both these guys, Santiago. I do worry that's going to be a tough headache where it's like, I had this in my Holy Cross, my college league last year, where I had like Brian Thomas, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, and every week I had to sit one of them. And every week the one on my bench had like 20. The one I started had 3. That's the risk for these type of boom bust guys. They're very nice in best ball, not so great in redraft. They are great, don't get me wrong, but you have to get them right. And so for me, my gut would lean to JMO. Love them both, though. Let's do it. Jaden Higgins, Mims, or Leggett. Pick one. Thanks, Cali Trader. I would go with Mims here. Seemed like a full-time wide receiver. Off the injury report completely, so that little groin thing is no concern, Cali Trader. I got to see a little bit more of what Leggett is bringing to the table with Ted McMillan. Those drops all fixed. What's Higgins' role going to be? I know Kirk is out. I think Noel is pegged more for that slot role, though. And so, to me, Mims, the only unknown, was playing time. Now, it's not a guarantee that preseason carries over, but he ran every route with the starters in this preseason. Seemed like the clear number 2 wide receiver, and he's been so efficient with his looks whenever on the field. So Mims excites me the most out of those guys, Cali Trader. Jennings or Tracy Jr., flex PPR for Davey Dave. I'm going to go, I like both these options a lot today. I'm going to go with Tyrone Tracy in this one. Go with the featured back. Cam Scatabo, I do think eventually takes that over. But for right now, it's Tracy's show. I think this offense is going to impress today. And I like Tyrone Tracy there. What's up, Coach Zeke? We are so back. Let's effing go. Wolfpack indeed. Eric Buckman, pick 3. Aaron Jones, Ridley, Garrett Wilson, JMO. Thank you, sir. I am going to go with JMO, Wilson as my clear top 2. I don't really love Wilson this week, but I do like him more than your other options. And I think, again, I am going to bench Ridley again. I do expect Aaron Jones to get vultured at the touchdowns, but, man, could he explode when he is healthy. First week of the season, he's going to have all his juice. So I'm going to go Aaron Jones there. I do worry about Ridley against this defense. Williams did well against Philly defense. Yeah, Jordan. I'm trying to think. Williams. Let me know what you're talking about. I honestly don't know what you mean. Good morning, Bruce K. Let's go, brother. Let's get it. Indeed. Pacheco failed me. Running back and flex are huge weak points. Oh, no, Coach Zeke. Off to a tough start. So we need some blow-ups here. Who should I start at flex and half PPR? Palmer, XL, C-Rod, or Thornton Jr. Gonna try to pick up Blue off waivers. Great. Go get Blue on waivers, no doubt. But for the start today, you need some big points. I'm going to go with Thornton Jr. because you're going to you need to catch those deep bombs. You need like a random 2-touchdown blow up here. And so I'm going to go Thornton Jr. He catches like a 70-yard bomb for you and goes bananas. C-Rod Jr. does intrigue me. Like if you pounded into the end zone and had like a Javonte Williams style 50 yards and 2 scores, That wouldn't blow my mind completely. But I'm going to go with Thornton Jr. myself as the highest upside option here, Coach Zeke, for what you need today. Jorge, what's going on? Ridley, Pearsall, Harvey, Warren, start 2. One thing, too, I want to point out, people with Warren probably aren't used to this. There are now 2 Warrens, Jaylen Warren and Ty Warren, the tight end for the Colts. And people might laugh, Ty Warren, I'm not going to start a rookie tight end for the Colts. He's going to be a beast. So please do clarify for the future, Jorge and everybody else, when you're saying Warren, is it Jaylen or is it Ty Warren? I'm going to assume it's Jaylen Warren here. But if it's not, please do correct me. And ultimately, I probably wouldn't be playing a Warren anyways, given I will definitely be playing Pearsall here. And I think I'm going to go with Harvey and say, they get up big early. They want to get their rookie legs going, kind of get him cooking early in the season. So I think both Harvey and Dobbins can have themselves decent days. I'm going to go with Pearsall and Harvey on that one. What's going on, Austin? The lone Facebook warrior still left over there. Egbuka, Chubb, or Eckler, PPR, have a great day. You got to go with Egbuka, especially in the full PPR setting. But this rookie got more hype than pretty much anybody. And so I'm going to go with Egbuka. I'm plus 10 ECR on him. Other than Mike Evans, they have not a ton of people to throw to. In both those games, the Falcons and Bucks games last year, both shot out like crazy. And so I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka, especially in the full PPR setting. The other veterans are like nice, solid, 0 RB guys if you punted the position, right? But their ceilings seem a little capped. Maybe Eckler does go out there and prove to be a featured back. Maybe Chubb does, right? But to me, Egbuka, you're talking about 8 catches, 100 yards, touchdowns. Pickens did lay an egg juice man. So we need some upsides. Yeah, Egbuka, Adams, and Hunter. So a lot of good juice here. Only wide receiver and flex spot left. So you can only play 2 of them. Oof, this is a tough one. And again, a lot of boom bust upside to these guys. I'm going to go with definitely Egbuka, and I think Devontae Adams, Rams debut. Let's see how he looks. I think he can smash and have a 2-touchdown day. Oh, that's a really tough one, though. Like benching a full-time Travis Hunter seems suboptimal in my opinion too. I wish we could get 2 in there. I wish it. How many of you out there are just like, I'd pay $20 right now to just be able to rip, George Pickens out of my lineup and just play these 3 guys. You know what I mean? Like I wish we could all do that. Sadly, we're stuck with George Pickens in there. I'm gonna lean with Devontae Adams and Emeka Egbuka in this one. I love them both. I absolutely love them both though today. Oh, these are okay. I was just checking. I clicked on I was looking at my week 1 rankings. It was actually my draft rankings. I was like, I had Egbuka plus 10 ECR. What's going on right here? There we go. So yes, my rankings agree with that too. I don't love to check my rankings, but like, how close do I have these guys? So I had Adams at 16, Egbuka at 20, and Travis Hunter at 28, who I am now bumping up with that full-time wide receiver news. 2 wide receiver 24, but still not above Emeka Egbuka myself. All righty. Good morning, Wolf. Cheers to you for creating a killer guide this year. Thank you so much, Seamus, for checking it out. Your support means a lot. We had a great year in sales, and unfortunately, my car engine just completely shot. So all those sales are going to be going to a new car, sadly. But hey, I'm glad to have it. Great support. Good to have that cushion for sure. Team Timberlake has never looked better. I love the squad you sent me this year, Seamus. Absolutely looking fantastic. Dobbins or Montgomery in full PPR for Harrison Ray. I got to go with Montgomery in that case. Dobbins does have the higher ceiling if he is the true starter, if he's a featured back by any means in this insane, number 2 line by PFF, great Broncos ecosystem. I could really see Dobbins killing it, Harrison Ray. But Montgomery, we just know it. Like, you got to get your touchdown. You got to get your 50 yards. Maybe those reports of Gibbs like really fully taking over the backfield come to fruition and Montgomery's more of like a handcuff. I don't expect that though. So I would go full PPR though. You could get a couple dump offs for Dobbins, who's been labeled a clear 3rd down back. Gun to my head, I'm going to go Dobbins actually. I'm switching it up. That's a really good one, Harrison Ray. Tough question, but I'm going to go Dobbins. 2 flex league PPR. I need to flex. Do Metcalf. So DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, same league. Should I start Kyle Pitts or Ty Warren? I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson here. I do think the Jet secondary is going to be beastly. And I think Metcalf is going to be funneled targets, but I prefer Wilson in that case. And I would definitely, juice man, go Ty Warren over Kyle Pitts. I'm never a Kyle Pitts guy. Now, this is the great game environment for it. Bucks shooting out. I think it could be a good one, but I'm still going Ty Warren. Love the prospect. think he's got a huge upside there. CJ at PPR, 4-point touchdown, 4-point PD. Passing touchdowns, I imagine, was what you're trying to say, CJ. Penix or JJ McCarthy. I'm going to roll Penix and chase that shootout upside there in this this Atlanta versus Tampa Bay game. I think that game really could go nuts. And I'm going to go with Michael Penix there, just slightly over McCarthy. You don't have Jordan Addison there. Monday Night Hope factor is good, but I think that there's going to be growing pains for probably both these guys. Give me the one against the Bucs chasing points. Alexander Trakoff on Facebook. Didn't know Facebook still existed, but hey, good to see you, Alexander. Hunter or Golden for wide receiver 3. Oh, man, that's a really tough call. I think I'm leaning Travis Hunter, and I love the Golden boy, but I love both these guys. I think they're both – Golden's 4,900 on DraftKings, Hunter's 5K. I love both of them. I'm trying to find ways to work them both into my lineup. It's too bad we don't know exactly what's going to happen with Jayden Reed, rather, because I really like Matthew Golden to blow up today. Either way, really. But I think Hunter as a full-time wide receiver, we got that report from Adam Schefter, full-time wide receiver, part-time corner in his NFL debut against a Panthers cheese defense over there, Swiss cheese. I really like that game to be a shootout, and I think Hunter's going to be a big factor of that. So I'm going to go Travis Hunter over Golden. If we knew Jayden Reed was ruled out at this point, that maybe pushes it over the edge to me, but maybe not. But I will tell you this, as I'm looking at my rankings, bumping Golden up. He's now my wide receiver 32, just below Ricky Pearsall and Garrett Wilson, whereas I have Travis Hunter at 24. So there is a pretty wide gap, but I think they are the same tier, so I'm going to make sure that's reflected as well. Good question there. Very exciting rookies. And Alexander, I do believe Golden is plus 255 for a touchdown today. Like those odds a lot for his betting. But if you're following the odds, Hunter is 190. So I'm going to go with Hunter slightly over Golden. Love them both, though, today. Hey, Sergey, what's going on? Go Pats, baby. Let's go. Great to see you, Sergey. Thank you for tuning in, man. So good. So happy to be catching up with you and hearing everything as well. Tommy Hurley, RJ Harvey or Aaron Jones. Go for the upside. Roll the dice on Harvey. Maybe it takes a little while for him to get rolling, but a good time to do it. And thank you, Michael Lopez. A good chance to pause because we're at nearly 1,500 of you live with us. I am so happy to see it. Thank you so much for making this an amazing Sunday debut, a great week one. You love to see it. I'm sure there's some new names in there. Please consider hitting that subscribe button on YouTube as we make our climb towards 5,000 subscribers. I know it doesn't sound like a crazy amount, but I believe we have some of the best content in the game. Certainly the Sit Start Show is one of my favorites every week. And if you enjoy it, please do hit that like button. Please do hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you. A good free way to support your boy. We got our first super chat of the day. Hills, come on. You don't have to. Who are you, Hillary Stagina? Hillary, what's going on? Thank you so much for the super chat. Happy first football Sunday. Yay. I don't know if you have any questions, Hillary, but please let me know. I know I'll be setting your lineup momentarily anyways. Thank you so much for the generous support. Happy first Sunday indeed. Very kind of you, for sure. Thank you, Hills. All righty, let me get back on over to where I left off. I'm always a little rusty. Oh, I got to figure out a good system for this. All right, don't forget that like button. So we are at Juice Man. I'll make sure to save the time so Campanelli can always remind me in the private chat if I forget. Last question, 2 flex, no tight end slot. George Pickens laid an egg and Hollywood is on the bench. Yeah, I heard a couple of people like, how come you had Hollywood, 2 spots below ECR? I didn't see Worthy getting hurt and 16 targets coming his way. My bad. I don't see all things in the future, only just some of them. I need to fill my second flex. I know you're not saying that, Juice Man, by the way. I got a couple questions about that on Twitter. Oh, sorry. Need to fill my second flex. Mark Andrews, Breece Hall, or Pearsall. Kind of favor Mark because no likely. I do think if somebody out of this scores 2 touchdowns, it's Mark Andrews. I do lean. I don't know if you put the scoring. If it's full PPR, I do think Pearsall could get like 8 catches today. Remember, we saw 2 games at the end of last year where he had 12 targets, 8 catches, tons of good stuff. So I'm going to go with Pearsall myself. If your gut really says Andrews, though, Juice Man, go for it. I think that is fully viable myself too. But I'm going to go Pearsall there. Simp, full PPR, flex Jennings, Egbuka, Pollard, or Wilson. Baker's my QB. Stack him up, baby. I like Ibuka the most anyways, Simp, but especially if you have Baker at QB, light it up. Go for the upside. Good stuff for sure. And then Ty Warren or Tucker Kraft. That is a good one. I'm a huge fan. In fact, in my mid-round breakouts article, I wrote about both these guys as my 2 mid-round breakouts. My tight end 9 and tight end 10, and tight end 9 is Tyler Warren. I'm a huge fan of the rookie. I think he comes out and smashes with Daniel Jones as like a souped-up, bigger Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot is where I am leaning, Simp. Thank you so much. RKT with the super chat. Thank you so much for the support, RKT. Travis Hunter or Jalen Waddle? I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. Again, labeled that full-time wide receiver, part-time corner. I'm never turning down a full-time Travis Hunter. He is so explosive, so dangerous with the ball in his hand, and Liam Cohen is so good at scheming those yak opportunities. So with a week 1 smashing debut, I think Hunter is going to go ballistic. And so give me Travis Hunter in that great game environment. I think that game should be a very fun one. Myself, I like Waddle. Very intriguing option too. And the Colts secondary is looking like one of the worst in the league. But that being said, I think it's going to be Tyreek Hill. I think he reminds people, yeah, I'm still fast. Yeah, I'm still good. I'm fully healthy this year. And he ends up going nuts. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. I also like Brian Thomas. Don't get me wrong, too. Like we're talking about number 1 wide receivers. Absolute animal. But give me Travis Hunter over Jalen Waddle in that one. Sports Guru. Start Ford, Cup, or Jennings full PPR. This might be the 1 week you get out of Ford to use him. My Ford engine just died on my car, so maybe I should be extra biased against him. I like Jauan Jennings here. I think against the Seattle Seahawks, not a great defense overall. Jennings full go off the injury report seemed like it's more contract than calf. I like Jennings. We've seen multiple games. He had a 40-point day last year, and when Ayuk was out, he was a beast. When Debo and Ayuk was out, he was the clear number 1, and I know Pearsall has taken a big step forward, but I like Jauan Jennings a ton. I still think there's a very real chance he's the number 1 wide receiver. Of course, Kittle, I think, is going to be the main passing vein there. But I like Jennings quite a lot there, Sports Guru. And I'm going to make sure to bump up because I had Jennings a little lower just because of the calf concerns. Let me show where he ends up. So Jauan Jennings, I do prefer over Myers. I prefer over even Calvin Ridley here. So Jennings getting a bump up in the rankings up to 39, just below Diggs and Olave for me. All righty, KJ Fedrick, good to see you. Better full PPR starts. Devonta Adams or Jacoby Myers? I'm going Adams. Go for the upside. Myers, full PPR, sure, he benefits from the settings. Still, though, you got Bowers to contend with. Thornton now looks like a beast. I'm going to go with Devonta Adams there. And Harvey, Tank, Bigsby, or Mason, go with the upside. Maybe, because it's one of those things, too, like hype on Bigsby, pretty high. Did he start throughout the preseason? Sometimes, but then Travis Etienne mixed in. I like Bigsby. I like Mason to potentially score touchdowns. And I like Harvey, though, as a 4.3 speed rookie in a Sean Payton offense. I'm going to go with the upside over there. Sorry, I missed this one, Joe. My apologies. Joe Blacko starting Bigsby over Swift due to matchup. Am I crazy? You're crazy. You are crazy. I would definitely go with Swift. Clear path to volume. And sure, the Vikings defense scares me a little bit more. And you got the great matchup for Bigsby, right? Carolina gave up, I believe, the most or second most points last year. Last year doesn't predict this year, but they should still be a pretty bad run D. I understand that, but we also don't really know for sure Bigsby's the starter, the clear guy. I think we're going to get a healthy dose of Etienne. I think we even see my boy Bayshaw rootin' tootin' mixing in there. It could be an ugly 3-headed nightmare, whereas Swift is like, maybe Monangai mixes in, but probably doesn't. We probably get 20-plus touches for Swift in a Ben Johnson offense. Swift, when he was with Ben Johnson, I know, bad blood, and he traded him away. Apparently, that was more of a Deuce Staley thing, and Swift averaged the 3rd most fantasy points per touch when he was with Ben Johnson. He knows how to use this guy. He knows how to use his running backs. I like DeAndre Swift. I'm chasing the volume there. Obviously, go with your gut, Joe. Like Bigsby, could he run for 2 touchdowns and end up getting 20 carries? I do also, and Joe, you're high on Bigsby, so you tell me. I appreciate you weighing in on my decision here. It was Andrews versus Dobbins. I do also have Bigsby on that bench. I don't think I'm ever going to start Bigsby this week. I see the upside. I really do, especially in that matchup. I'm very excited to see how that backfield. That's like one of the biggest storylines, watch list items for me today. But thank you for weighing in. Joe. And again, I go Swift over Bigsby myself. Stephanie McMahon, big fan of the show. Not Steven, what's up? Going flex PPR, Tet McMillan or Trevion? Oh, great questions. Now, to me, I think by midseason, Trevion's going to be set. Forget, you don't even think about it. If I had to pick one today, though, McMillan's going to walk in and be that alpha from day one. So I really like Tet here to end up being the clear featured guy from the first minute he steps on the field. So I'm going to go with him. I think his role is just a little bit more secure there. And as much as I love Trevion, I think Ramondre will be involved early in the season. He'll be the goal line guy. And so could Trevion take a screen and rip it like 80 yards? Yes. And that's what worries me about benching him. He's the most explosive player on the field every time the rock's in his hand. So I do really like Trevion. This is a very, very tough question. I'm going to go Tet very slightly in a full PPR and think he catches 8 balls today, scores a touchdown. That's where I'm leaning. Very tough question, though, because you could also see Trevion catching 6 balls and being like, there was talks of him being the number 1 receiver out of New England at some points in this summer. So, great option, Steven. I gunned to my head. I'm going Tet McMillan. But that is a tough question for sure. In terms of Ingram versus Warren, I'm going to go with Warren. Ingram was like a halftime player this preseason. I know preseason's preseason. We leave it there. But that's how Sean Payton's often rotated his tight ends, unless he's had like Jimmy Graham. So I'm going to go with Ty Warren and think he is a clear featured player. My man FZ Ware with the super chat. Thank you so much for that. That one right there. And Campanelli doing a good job of reminding me of where we left off in the chat as well. Greatly appreciated, Campanelli. FC Ware asking Tracy, Reed, Warren, Egbuka, pick one. And this is another reminder again, Warren, please do specify. It's not going to change my answer in this case, but there is now Jaylen Warren and Ty Warren. There's every year there's like these players where the last name suddenly becomes, oh, wait, I have to actually clarify who I'm talking about. It wouldn't matter which one it is because for me, FC Ware, the clear answer here is Egbuka. Clear number 2 pass catcher in a very explosive Bucs offense. I know Liam Cohen's gone. I have faith that Josh Grizzard, the passing game coordinator under Liam Cohen. So some continuity. He's now the new offensive coordinator. I think he keeps things humming and rolling. Egbuka, if you drafted him FC Ware, you know the hype coming from Evans, coming from Baker, coming from the head coaches. The truest of professionals was Egbuka all preseason. He can play all 3 wide receiver spots. He's dominating every practice. And now he gets a shootout style environment as the clear number 2 pass catcher. I'm 10 spots above VCR. I love Egbuka today. I love him at plus 225 to catch a touchdown. I think those odds are phenomenal on him. He's going to blow up. He's like a tier above these 3 options for me right here, FC Ware. I'm rolling Egbuka, and I'm feeling great about it. Few more super chats. Thank you guys so much. Very generous of you. Up to 5 super chats on the day. Greatly appreciate your generosity. Thank you, Hillary, again. Kicking those super. Where and now the figure report coming in with a happy Sunday. He needs 2 for standard. Dinosaurs playing standard over here. Come on. Debo, RJ, and Olave. So in standard, we obviously are prioritizing touchdowns. And to me, the 2 better bets to score touchdowns on this list are Debo and RJ Harvey. I think Olave could be a really nice, like high-volume slot guy for Kellen Moore. I'm very intrigued to see what he does. And maybe he does come up with 10 catches, 150 yards. Those 10 catches do nothing for you. But 150 yards sure does. So this is tricky. But in a standard, which I don't play a ton of, so maybe I'm off figure report. But to me, whenever you play standard, you prioritize touchdowns. And I think I have Debo as a better touchdown bet than Olave, given he's playing with Daniels and that more explosive overall offense. And I think Harvey's going to get some nice mop-up duty here. The Titans, maybe the Titans keep it tight, and Harvey, they lean on Dobbins instead. I don't buy that, though. I think Harvey, very explosive rookie, with the team leading by 2+ scores going in the second half. I think we get a healthy dose of RJ Harvey. So I'm going to go with RJ and Debo figure report. Granted, though, the one last thing I'd consider here is, like, if you do want the safest options, we don't know what Harvey is or what his role is going to be. And so, to me, like, if you just want to go Olave, Debo, give Harvey a tryout, like, it's so close that you could be like, okay, I'll take the more sure things here. But I'm a big believer in Harvey, as you guys know. Wrote about him a ton in the guide and the mid-round breakouts article. Big fan of this type of athlete in a Sean Payton scheme. I think it's going to go bananas. Hey, best upside tight end for season, Kincaid or Strange? I mean, if it's upside, it's Kincaid, right? Because you're talking about the Bills. But to me, I don't like Kincaid because Knox is the better blocker. Shakir's the better slot receiver. So suddenly we got Kincaid kind of in this middle ground purgatory where he's just this like tweener that plays half the snaps and isn't all that great with them. The upside would be he becomes a full-time tight end. He becomes a clear pass-catching mouth for the best QB in the game. That's the highest ceiling outcome. Like there's no world Strange is ever better than the third on the target totem pole, right? There's a world where Kincaid might be the best pass catcher there. Probably isn't, but at worst, number 2 for Josh Allen. I don't buy that, though. I don't think he's going to be. So if I had to pick which tight end I like more on the season, it is Strange. He apparently tore up camp. He was the clear number 3. But those are 2 healthy mouths as well between Travis Hunter and obviously BTJ as well. So if you only want upside, Jay, it is Kincaid. He's the higher ceiling guy. If you want me to give you who I think the best play is, I think Strange. I have Strange just a little bit higher than Kincaid. I don't know, though. I mean, they're so close that, yeah, at that point, like, go for the upside, go Kincaid. I like them both, though. Good, intriguing options, but I'll go Kincaid there. Fella, thank you so much for your generous super chat here. $5 coming in with Mr. Fella. Love to see you back for another season, sir. What's good? Start 1, full PPR. Full PPR, half tight end premium. Okay, got it. You confused me for a quick second there, fella. Egbuka or Njoku. Also have Evans in the lineup and got a 0 from Worthy. Oof. Tough start. Worthy, brutal for anybody who had him in the lineup. Looked like he, great setup for the guy. Don't blame you for starting him at all. I probably had him higher. I have him 19 and Egbuka 20, so I had him literally right neck and neck. There's a lot going on in this situation, right? Thanks for adding all the context, fella, because it does make it an easier question to answer. Because, all right, you have Evans, you have Egbuka, you need a ton of upside. Could both those guys go bananas? Absolutely. We have plenty of games with Evans and Godwin both finishing in the top 5 fantasy receivers, especially when they were facing the Falcons last year as well. I get that extra half point for Njoku. That can go a really long way, especially when you have Flacco at quarterback. There was that stretch. You probably know it, fella, if you have Njoku on your team, right? Where in 2023, Flacco started 5 games or so. Njoku was the number 1 tight end in fantasy over that span. Flacco absolutely fed him. He absolutely loves him. I would say I'm still going Egbuka. I believe in this kid so much that I think him and Evans can both combine for like 50 fantasy points today in a full PPR setting. It's close with those scoring, though, with Njoku, right? It's close when you already have Evans in the lineup. It's like, am I really cannibalizing one offense? But I think it's worth it because the other note on Njoku, as much as I do love him, I really like this Harold Fannin kid, too, the rookie there. He caught the touchdown in the preseason game. They're on the field a lot together. And so it could be a great, Njoku 6-catch, 70-yard day, but then Fannin vultures it, right? So to me, I'm going to go with Egbuka. I'm going to go for the rookie hype. You need the ceiling. You need the upside. And I see just a much better shot at Egbuka being the one that just goes bananas as compared to Njoku. But I would totally understand, Anthony, if you're like, that's too much bucks for me. But this is the type of game. Remember how those games went last year, Falcons and Bucks. I think both combined for over 60 total points in those shootout-style games. So I'm going to roll with that. Good question, though, for sure. And RKT coming in with a second super chat. Very generous of you to come in twice here, RKT. Greatly appreciate. Daniels or Tua? Come on, it's Jayden Daniels. Like, he's the clear-cut only Lamar, Josh Allen, and then Jayden Daniels. And if you wanted to rank him above those two because he's facing the Giants, like, you could certainly make the argument that Jayden Daniels is the number 1 quarterback this week. I like Tua. He's fine when he's healthy. Against the Colts, it's a good matchup today. I do, but he's like 3 tiers below Jayden Daniels for me. So thank you for the layup, RKT. It's 110% Jayden Daniels, though, as he takes his next big step there. We got a ton of great super chats coming in. Thank you so much, Manny23. I remember you last year constantly coming in with a super chat, so I greatly appreciate you supporting your boy. And then Josh Montgomery will be right to you in a second. You guys are awesome. Up to 9 super chats on the day. Very, very kind and generous of you good folks. Manny asking, flex, DJ Moore, Travis Hunter, RJ Matthew Golden. So for the flex, I'm going to go with Travis Hunter of those options. Again, that report of him being a full-time receiver, we should not discount that. I've bumped him up to wide receiver 24 in my rankings as a result of the news. I do love Matthew Golden. I had that question earlier, Golden versus Hunter. I'm very intrigued to see what RJ Harvey does, and I know I've recommended him to a few. DJ Moore too, like what's his role going to be with this? A lot of just great watch list guys here, Manny, that I can't wait to see what they do. But to me, I feel the best about Travis Hunter being that one that does explode for you. In that case, I mean, Purdy and Lawrence I have very close in the rankings anyways. Maybe you stack the boys up, right? But I would personally go Purdy. He's got his receivers there in terms of Jennings and Pearsall. You got Kittle. I think they put up, 3+ touchdowns through the air today. So I like Brock Purdy in that case as well. Thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you so much, Mr. Joshua Montgomery. Very generous of you. 1 point PPR, Superflex. QBs are Jackson and McCarthy. Can I drop Chubb for Darnold? Other backs, Gibbs, Harvey, Pollard, Mason, DeMonte. Yeah, absolutely, Josh. You should have 3 quarterbacks in a super flex league, and Chubb is never going to crack your lineup with those running backs. Even if I'm intrigued to see what he does today. Don't get me wrong. They play at 4. So this is what I always say in these type of situations, Josh, is like if you're on Yahoo or check your scoring settings, I think Sleeper allows it too, where if you could cut your kicker, if you even play a kicker, I don't know if your league has kickers, right? Or defenses, but if you can cut your kicker, we've got Tyler Loop out there in every league. He's the Ravens' new kicker. He could play tonight. You got, Cairo Santos and Will Reichard. I think it's Will. I actually don't even know. The Vikings kicker, right, on Monday night. All good options. I like all those 3 kickers, right? So if I have the ability to churn my bench, if I want, I do want to see what Chubb does today before I cut him. If he gets 25 carries, it looks like the Chubb of old, and Mixon doesn't come back, like maybe you are playing Chubb at some point this year. But to me, he's like the clear 6th here. I don't see a great clear path for him in your lineup. So it's like if I have to drop Chubb right now, to get to Darnold and I can't drop a kicker and then pick one up later after I test everybody out and see what happens, then yeah, I would drop Chubb for Darnold. But I would encourage you, Josh, if you are allowed to do that, or like look into your league settings. I know ESPN doesn't typically allow it, but I know most Yahoo leagues do, and a lot of sleeper leagues do too. So check with your person. You might even have kickers, and this is all a waste of time. And you just drop Chubb for Darnold. But if you do have kickers or defenses, and you can kind of do that tryout thing, I would definitely recommend trying that out. Full PPR. In Camden, I see Thomas Medina, my man from Panama over there, super chatting. Great to see you this morning, Thomas. You might have already caught that, Campanelli, but he super chatted $2 without a question. So if you can find his question for me, it looks like you might have already done that. So just to make sure we keep the things flowing here. Full PPR, Travis Hunter, Jauan Jennings, or Golden, also Swift or Henderson at running back. Great questions here, Don. We've gotten Hunter versus Golden quite a few times here now on the show. To me, those guys are a step above Jennings this week, even though I do really love Jauan. He didn't practice for a while. Pearsall kind of, built that rapport, maybe took over a true number 1 wide receiver. If I can wait and see what happens there, I will. And when you have 2 great rookie options like Hunter and Golden, I think you can wait. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter full-time. That tweet again, that he's going to be a full-time wide receiver and part-time corner today. I love it. And I think that offense is going to be a machine. I really do. You're banking on Trevor Lawrence being good, but I think he's going to be good. And so I go with Travis Hunter for that one. Tomas, it looks like you forgot your question. I think my man Campanelli found it, but we will see. FZ Ware, Dobbins, Kupp, Shakir, Sampson, Waddle need a wide receiver and a flex. I'm going to cut Sampson out of this. Sure, there's no Judkins this week, but I think Ford's going to be the more valuable guy there. To me, Dobbins is the flex, and then Waddle is the wide receiver. I am intrigued by what Kupp's going to do in his Seahawks debut. I think there's more juice than people give him credit for, but I also do worry, like the Rams ate $22 million of dead money to get rid of him. And nobody loves Kupp more than McVay. Nobody has a better read on Kupp and his trajectory than McVay. So I'm pretty surprised that they would do that if Kupp still had anything left in the tank. So he could be completely empty. He could come out and be like, yeah, I'm still Cooper Kupp, folks, and remind you, I'd like to wait and see. And I think with your options, you can wait and see because I love Dobbins. I think he's a great flex. And I think Waddle is a phenomenal play today. Apparently was the star of camp, better than Tyreek on many days by a lot of people. And so I like going with Waddle in that wide receiver question. Very generous of you. Oh, yeah. So I got to look for Tomas. Let's see if Tomas Medina. So it looks like Campanelli did track this one down for you. Thank you, Mr. Campanelli. So we'll go back to you. Thomas just wanted to say hi. He just said, just saying how Ola here. So pumped for today. I'll be seeing you, amigo. Thank you so much, Tomas, for your generosity. Glad to see you. Appreciate it. You guys are so kind and generous with super chats, and I greatly appreciate it because, again, I made a joke, but it actually did happen. My engine completely clunked out at 89,000 miles on my car this week. Brutal Ford injury. I'm never going to get a Ford again. I told them, I was like, I'm going to go on my stream and bash. No, I didn't say that. I would never do that. But I am bashing them right now, I guess. My engine crapped out. I'm going to have to buy a new car. It stinks. Not an expense I had budgeted for. So this stuff really does help out so much. I greatly appreciate you guys. Buy Wolfie a car fund here. But no, very kind and generous of you guys. Rick Moore, thank you so much for your support here. 14 team digging deep. I love it. Let's go. Romeo or Wandale, full PPR. It was half PPR for Mason or Ridley. Thank you, Rick. Good one. So, Rick Moore, I would go, because Wandale is a full PPR beast typically, right? But now you got Russell Wilson. What if he throws it deep more often than Daniel Jones, the check down artist? Neighbors should be the clear target hog there. They added some other weapons, right? So I would say if I'm digging this deep, if I'm in the Wandale weeds, the Romeo Dobbs weeds, maybe consider Dante Thornton, blow up potential there for the Raiders, who I'm bumping up right now above Wandale because I do truly think he outscores him. I have him a little too low in my ranks. I'm bumping Thornton up. I have him way too low to wide receiver 57. I would say of the two options you do present, Rick Moore, I'd go with Romeo Dobbs, especially if Jayden Reed's ruled out. I don't think we're going to get that news, unfortunately, because they play at 4. I believe Wandale plays at 1. So you probably won't know that. But Dobbs, whether Reed's in or out, he is the clear-cut, every down snap receiver. Seems like Golden's going to be running that role with him as well. And those two are just going to be 80% snap players. I like that. I know you got to dig deep. So I do think Dante Thornton's the highest upside. But I'd go Romeo Dobbs probably of the guys you present here as my favorite option. Thank you again so much, Rick Moore, for your super chat. Wandale's just so, again, last year, yes. If we do get last year's Wandale, he's going to be a nice PPR asset for you, especially in a 14-teamer. I'm not convinced we have last year's Wandale. Plus, he spent a lot of camp banged up. So I'm going to go Romeo Dobbs of the options you presented, Rick. Mr. Fella with your second super chat of the day. Thank you so much, Fella. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Flacco, Love, or Tua in the super flex spot. Already started Hurts. You're in good shape. You're cooking it. I mean, I love Flacco this week. I really do. I am going to roll with Jordan Love, though. I think that game shoots out. I think this Packers offense takes to the air far more than we saw last year. So give me Jordan Love. I have him up at quarterback 13 for the week, just above these guys. Meanwhile, I have a Flacco at 21 and Tua at 23. So I have Jordan Love a tier above these guys myself, plus just a little more safe. You already have a good amount of points here from Jalen Hurts. As much as I do like Flacco, he's my DFS quarterback. I'm going to roll some dice on him today. But I also wouldn't really necessarily want to start him if I didn't have to. So I'm going to go with Jordan Love in that case. William did super chat, and my man Campanelli caught it. You're a legend, Campanelli. It is RJ Harvey, Travis Hunter, or Ridley in the flex. And you have Brian Thomas at wide receiver 1 already. I still think even though you already start Thomas, William, let's stack that offense up. Both wide receivers can feast. We saw that plenty of times with Godwin's and Evans and the Liam Cohen offense. So I am totally fine with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas both being in my my lineup this week. RJ Harvey will be the next one up. I think most weeks you're probably going to have Calvin Ridley, but not against the Broncos. Not this week. A secondary that already was elite gets even better. So yeah, I'm going to roll there with both. Go with the double Jags lineup here. Is how I would say. Ethan Pugh, thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see a regular showing up. Deebo Samuel or Ricky Pearsall in the flex. Great options. Do you take the man that departed the 49ers and is now playing with Jane Daniels, or the man taking his spot in the 49ers scheme? And I take Pearsall in this one. Very close call, and Jauan Jennings being active does change things a little bit. But to me, Pearsall, I have him 3 spots above Deebo Samuel's in the ranking because you do have Terry McLaurin back. They're definitely going to try to be building that chemistry back. I mean, they already have the chemistry. Right? They're not building it, but reestablishing the rapport on the fly. So I think they're going to use a lot of that time against the pathetic Giants team to do that. Granted, it is a good Giants pass rush, so you might get a lot of dink and dunk to Deebo. I could see that, but all the reports are Pearsall looking like the clear alpha there. So it's very close, Ethan, but I'm going to go with Slicky Ricky in the flex for that one. All righty, folks. That wraps up 16 super chats. Thank you so much for your generosity. We are well into hour 2 of the show here. So I greatly appreciate those super chats. Very, very kind of you. We left off here at 8:31 with Stephen McMahon. So we were at KJ Frederick here, but thank you again so much for that financial support. Like I said, get my car shit to bed this week, so that sucks. And these super chats, they really do add up fast, and it's so greatly appreciated. With the guide sales this summer, that stuff is really helping push it over the edge. It stinks when your car it craps in the bed, but ultimately I'm able to use RSJ money to help give me a cushion. I don't have to dip into the daycare fund for Josie, thank God. But a free way to help your boy with 2,100 of you here for a week 1. What a smashing week 1. I think this is an all-time record for the first week of the season, maybe of all time. 2,100 live viewers here with us. Thank you so much for being here. Please do consider that thumbs up, that heart, the like the button. I know a ton of you are coming from Twitter, that heart button, the likes, the shares, the retweets, all that stuff goes such a long way. And some new names here. If you enjoy the show, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. I mean, if every single person that was watching live here hit that sub button, we'd be well over 5K by the end of the day, which would be amazing. But thank you again so much for being here. Greatly appreciate on your Sunday morning. In about 40 minutes or so, I'm going to go into rapid fire mode and try to get through as many questions as I can. This is a pretty full mailbag, which I love to see. So I cannot promise I'll get to everyone, but I will do a rapid fire at the end. Reminder that you can cut the line with that super chat. Of course, thank you again so much for your generosity, guys. KJ Frederick, better wide receiver to start, Devontae Adams or Jacoby Myers? I would go with Devontae Adams. Oh, I think we already did this one, and I'm going to go with RJ Harvey there. Wolf, happy Sunday. What's up, Giuseppe Russo? Let's effing go indeed, baby. Do I start Monty or Dobbins? We already got that one, but I think I like Dobbins better anyways, but especially if you already have Gibbs. You're really trying to monopolize a full backfield there, which is good if all backfields do it. You can definitely start both Detroit guys. I would personally start Monty myself. And David Campbell says, respond to the message I sent you. So I don't know what he sent you or what that means, but moderator over here says he wants to talk to you. So don't mess with the bouncer. You don't want Campanelli on you, cracking knuckles on your face. You don't want that, Giuseppe. Come on. Joe Blacko. I'd have Lawrence and Bigsby active. I don't necessarily like Bigsby as much as you do this week. I'd prefer Swift. KJ Frederick, better kicker, Boswell or Reichert? I'd go Boswell, unless Reichert lets you try somebody out on the bench today, Frederick. If you're allowed to cut people from your bench, pick up Thornton, drop Boswell, and then put Reichert in on Monday night. That would be the best option for sure. Juan Polito, full PPR. Who should I start? Ricky Pearsall, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, Matthew Golden. I'm going to go. This is a good one. It's not going to be Aaron Jones for me. I'm probably going to go Breece Hall, but I do love both these wide receivers. I like them a lot. Full PPR as well, but I think full PPR probably helps Breece. He can catch a ton of dink and dunks. It's crazy that my guts say Matthew Golden, say Matthew Golden, say Matthew Golden. I love Matthew Golden this week. I really do. But I'm going to go with Breece Hall in that one. Juan Polito. What's going on, Michael Lopez? Need a full flex 12-team full PPR of T-Mac, Igbuka, or Myers. T-Mac. Oh, Ted McMillan. I love Igbuka today. It comes down to the two rookies for me. I'm going to take Myers out of that, even though he is, again, good in a full PPR. A lot of upside there. I am going to lean I think I go Ted McMillan very, very slightly over Igbuka. Just the better shot at being the true number one today is certainly Ted McMillan when you got Mike Evans on the other side of Igbuka. But I love them both. My man Bulldog, thank you so much for the generosity. Great to see you. Should I drop Mooney for Quinshon? Very shallow bench league. I also have Mason and Downs on the bench. Yeah, I would drop Mooney for Judkins. Absolutely, Bulldog. Signs the full guaranteed deal. There's talk of maybe a 2 to 4 game suspension. And then you got the Browns featured back. And an offense that, if Flacco stays QB the majority of this year, I think the Browns are going to be an actually surprising offense. I love Stefanski. I think he's a QB whisperer. I love his zone blocking scheme for the running backs. I think Judkins has a ton of upside. So yes, I would 110% drop that. I know it's a shallow bench league. And like if he ends up getting spent in 8 games, okay, no. But if it ends up being 2 to 4 games, I think you're gonna be much happier having a 6 foot, 220 pound mammoth that runs a 4.3 40, was a great running back in college, great production, great athletic profile. Tons to love about Quinshon Judkins, Bulldog. Not as a human being, but I do think I would much rather have Judkins on my roster myself. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. We left off with, I believe, Krana had a bunch of questions. Great to see you, Krana. Higgins or Judy, PPR, Henderson or Ibuka, Kincaid or Loveland. Because you have so many here, Krana, I'm going to just kind of whip through the options for me. I'd go T. Higgins over Judy, even though I do like Flacco and what that could mean for Judy. I'm going to go Ibuka very slightly over Henderson. I think he's got a clearer week 1 role. Henderson could be the best player on the field, though, today, and he might become a you never even ask questions about soon. And then I'm going to go Loveland, your boy Loveland, Krana, over Kincaid in that one as well. So 8:37. We got another super chat from Will Villette. Thank you so much for your generosity, Will. Pick 3, Sutton, Brian Thomas, Ibuka, or Williams. So we got to bench one of these guys, and I love them all. Brian Thomas, the clear cut, we don't ask about him type of guy for me. Top 5 wide receiver for me pre-draft, first rounder for me pre-draft. I am not benching him under any circumstance, especially in a good matchup today. 6,800 on DraftKings too. Love that price tag. As you guys have heard me say multiple times today, I'm obsessed with Emeka Ibuka. I think he's a stud, and this is going to be a clear-cut path to tons of volume in a shootout-style game. So I'm going to go Ibuka as my number 2. It does get tougher from there with a tough matchup against Tennessee. They're surprisingly good against corners for Sutton. Him versus JMO, very, very tough call here. I do worry about the Broncos just like getting up huge and then running. And I love Sutton this year. I really do. But of these options, like Thomas, Ibuka, and Williams just excite me more. I think there's going to be better days for Sutton, especially when they're facing the Chiefs, the Chargers, the shootout style of games. Sutton will go off. I don't think they're going to need him a ton today. Maybe he catches an early bomb. I love that Michael Thomas-inspired role. But to me, I'm going Thomas, Ibuka, Williams, and benching Sutton of those 3 options, Will. What's going on, Kyle? More Golden or Dante Thornton in the flex, Wolf? Oof, good options. I would say as much as I love Thornton, so much upside. Could he blow up today? Yes, but when you have Golden and more, you don't want to get too cute with it. Like, let's wait to see, because Thornton, as much as I like the blow-up upside today, if he had 1 catch for 8 yards, wouldn't shock you. If you had an A.J. Brown stat line, it wouldn't shock you. Sorry for A.J. Brown owners out there. Golden versus Moore is tricky. I do lean DJ Moore, but only by a spot or 2 here in the rankings. And part of me is like, really, do you actually lean DJ Moore? Because you got, Adunze looking like the true number 1 wide receiver there. But they did, Minnesota, give up the most points to wide receivers last year. Very blitz-happy team that does create. If you take those quick strikes and rip it down the field, like that's what DJ Moore does best. I could see a blitz getting broken. He also plays in the backfield a lot this summer. I'm very intrigued to see what DJ Moore does. I go him slightly above Matthew Golden there, Kyle. Very, very close. R Cannabis, what's up? AR Cannabis, R Cannabis. Remind me what it is. I think it's R like a pirate, but I'm not positive there. Might be AR Cannabis. I forget you before last year, and I apologize for not remembering. So remind me what it is, R Cannabis, AR Cannabis, whichever one. Cannabis. Love cannabis. Good to see you. What's going on? Happy foosball season indeed, brother. Olave or Shakir in the flex. Leaning Olave, leaning Shakir, but Olave might see a lot with Kamara being babysat. Why is Kamara being babysat? Is there a report that I'm missing? My man Campanelli in the driver's seat over there. Could you check to see if there's something about Kamara being like limited today? Or I didn't see anything on that last night, and I quickly skimmed the news in the morning too. So unless this happened in the last hour or so, I have not seen anything about Kamara being limited or babysat. I think he's going to be featured and be a very strong running back. To me, I like Olave more anyways, whether Kamara has a babysitter or not. Again, I don't know what that means, but whether he's getting babysat or not, I'd still like Olave playing that slot role. We saw it in the preseason, only a drive or 2. but he was in the slot for every time they had a slot receiver. It was Olave, and we know that Kellen Moore slot receivers. You saw Keenan Allen lead the NFL in targets per game just 2 seasons ago in that slot role under Kellen Moore. The Eagles they kind of rotated all those guys through, so there wasn't a clear cut one. But for years it's been like that. Kellen Moore, CeeDee Lamb, he moved all over the place into the slot and did some great things. And it looks like Olave has that role. So I really like Olave. I like this Kellen Moore offense. I think they're going to run a ton of plays, have a high volume. I don't like the offensive personnel. I hate the quarterback situation, but I think they're always going to be chasing points. And I think you got a little upside there with Olave. So I'm going to go Olave. Granted, our cannabis, I will say I am an owner of Olave, so maybe that's my bias creeping in. But I like Olave today. I think he is a few spots for me ahead of Shakir. Very generous of you guys. 22 super chats today. What a way to kick off the season. 2,200 live viewers, 22 super chats. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you so much. Mike P, standard scoring, pick 2 wide receivers. Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter. Man, you guys are awesome. These teams are beastly that you guys are proposing these questions for. In a standard scoring league, like we're chasing touchdowns, we're going after upside. I don't think Garrett Wilson has that upside for me. I'm going to go Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, pin the 2 rookies against each other in a shootout style of game. Let those boys let them go. I love Ted McMillan this week, and I like Travis Hunter more than I like Garrett Wilson. I'm worried. Justin Fields looked like complete booty cheeks this preseason. He couldn't – the way the ball was coming out of his hands, like as if he had never thrown a football before in his life. And all the talk is he proved it every day in practice. He works hard. Nobody's outworking him. But ultimately, you got to catch – you have someone throw you the rock to catch it. And I think I just in my gut am like the Jets are going to suck. Not just today, against Pittsburgh especially, but all year. Like I think they're just going to be bad. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Garrett Wilson, we saw Fields feed DJ Moore, was also part of your question here, to his career year. But this looks like a regression for Fields. So it was just a few preseason drives, but there was talk in camp, 4 for 10, 2 for 10. The accuracy has been a concern his whole career, but especially lately, it would seem. So I'm going to go Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter, standard scoring. You're chasing touchdowns. You're chasing big plays. Both those guys can live on them, and they're facing each other. Good game environment is what I'm thinking there. Pugh with your second super chat of the day. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mr. Ethan Pugh. Would you drop Dobbins for a Rodriguez or Tootin dart throw? I have Harvey. I also grabbed Eckler off waivers. Hold or drop him. Already have Thornton. So I would do – all right, let me see here. I would not drop Dobbins. I'll tell you that, Ethan. Big fan of Dobbins. Man, you have Harvey, so it is like, do you really want to own the full backfield? But for Sean Payton, yes. Like we've had – there's a year where Mark Ingram and Kamara were both top 6 running backs. I believe top 5 even. That's how valuable this Sean Payton backfield is. Number 2 offensive line, Sean Payton guru. I'm happy to have both those guys on my roster. Certainly above Rodriguez and probably over Tootin. I love both those dart throws, and I like Eckler too. Oh, man, you already have Thornton. I would say I probably would drop Thornton for Tootin myself, and I like Thornton a lot. But I'd probably drop Thornton for Tootin. I'd like to see what Eckler does today. I'd rather – so if you're talking about owning both running backs, I'd much rather have both Broncos guys than both Commanders guys. Because even if they hit big, you got the real vulture risk, right, Ethan, of Jayden Daniels stealing that volume. So I like Rodriguez. I think he scores today. I do. His odds like plus 190. Him and Malik Neighbors have nearly the same touchdown odds, which is mind-blowing to me. So I think Rodriguez is very intriguing, but not dropping Dobbins for him. I think Thornton is the first man on your chopping block. Again, though, even like I've said to a million times with these waiver wire questions, can you cut your kicker, right? Can you cut a defense more? I like cutting kickers more because you have, and maybe you don't start kickers, so this means nothing to you. But again, Will Reichert on Monday night, Cairo Santos Monday night, Tyler Loop Sunday night. You can give yourself a chance to try these guys out. I'd love to have both Rodriguez and Tootin on my bench. I'd go Tootin and then Rodriguez, right? But I would certainly cut somebody to get that action. If I can cut my kicker and then pick one up and get a tryout in. But if you can't, I'd cut Thornton for Tootin myself and see what happens. He's the one that intrigues me more out of all these options. And thank you again for the second super chat. Very, very generous of you today, for sure. 22 super chats. You guys are the best. Very generous. I know we were at Corona. His second question here, Monty or Pollard, and thank you again so much. 2,300 of you here. Just one more reminder for a heart button, a like button, or share, or retweet. All that stuff really does help us grow so much. Monty or Pollard PPR? I would go with Pollard as the featured back there versus Monty, who all the talk is Gibbs might be really fully taking over the backfield. As a Gibbs owner, I'm crossing my fingers, praying that he does. Very excited to see how Gibbs plans out today. But I would go Pollard over Montgomery. And Nix or Lawrence, I got to go with Bo Nix. I think they're going to crush the Titans. And maybe that means Nix takes it off the gas pedal. But remember those years where like Peyton with the Saints, even when they were crushing teams, they would just throw and put up points. I could see Bo Nix having that type of season. And so I'm going to go with Lawrence, rather Bo Nix for me as well. And Campanelli told me he didn't see anything on Kamara as well. So I'm not sure what the babysitting thing was. But let us know for sure. Corona, and then into Matt Carmody, Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Bryce Young, or Justin Fields, 4-point passing touchdowns, 2-point for 40-plus TDs, 2-point bonus for 300 to 403. Okay, so a lot of bonuses in this. I got to go with Jared Goff. I think that game shoots out. So you're talking about all these yardage bonuses. I think Goff has a good chance at hitting those, even though he is much better at home than what he is on the road. We did say, okay, so Campanelli, we got Worthy dislocated shoulder, still undergoing tests. Hope is he can return with a brace. That's much better. McCaffrey also a big part of the walkthrough Saturday, sign he's trending to go. So some big news. Thank you. Some Rappaport bombs, rap sheets dropping right now. But sounds like if you have Worthy, you can breathe a little sigh of relief. I know it hurts. Breathe a sigh of relief with 0 in your lineup. Yeah, I know that sucks. But at least you're not out for the season type of thing with a dislocated shoulder. Not ideal news, but better, much better than what some of the alternatives. I saw some like broken collarbone potential speculation. So much better than what it could have been. And then, of course, again, CMC, to reiterate, you're playing Christian McCaffrey if you have him. Top 5 running back in the rankings. Sounds like he is fully ready to go. Superflex, do I start Kyler, JJ, or Fields? Pick one. I'm going to go with Kyler. Lower on Kyler this week, but higher than the guys you named there just at me. You got the Fields revenge game narrative, but against the Steelers, I don't know if that revenge is going to taste so good. Santiago, you are next up. I'm just grabbing my water. You talk so much on these things, your mouth starts to get a little dry. All righty. Santiago, who's a better stash, Luther Burden or Thornton? Or I would not drop Blue to stash both. I think Blue's a better stash than both. I'd say this, Santiago. I think Burden is the better long-term stash. I would see by week 5, you're going to have the bye week in week 5. I think Burden comes in and takes over. But I think as of like today, I don't think we're going to see Burden for at least a couple weeks. Zacchaeus was starting over him. Zacchaeus looked pretty good. I don't think Zacchaeus is going to hold off a talent like Burden too long. But I think he's going to kind of just sit on your waiver wire longer because he's not going to erupt this week. And suddenly everyone's scrambling. Whereas I can see Thornton catch a 70-yard bomb today and everybody's going to get him, right? So for right now, I would stash Thornton because I think he's going to have the quicker path to upside and to showing his upside. But eventually, Luther Burden, you'll see someone else, someone will get hurt, or you'll find somebody to cut by the time Burden's going to be blowing up. But I don't think you're going to need to look that way for at least a couple more weeks. So my kind of like both answer is for right now, Thornton. Keep Thornton on your team if you have him. And then for me, Burden is like by the end of the season, the guy you're going to wish you had. But it's going to take a little while to get there. So I'd rather have Thornton on my roster right now because I think they both could be league winners, honestly. But Jayden Blue, I also really fully believe in more than that. We did have a super chat, Quincy, so I'm going to jump on over to that. Great value, 77. Thank you so much for your generosity. Running back situation isn't ideal. You got Bijan. That's pretty good. So you went hero running back approach, so it seems. I would say, so we got Charbonnet, Jordan Mason, Caleb Johnson. I'm definitely ruling out Johnson from this list. It sounds like Jalen Warren, they called him the clear featured runner. Johnson was playing behind Gainwell this preseason. by the middle of the season, could I see Johnson really taking over? He's got some rushing skill. I loved his profile coming out of there. But ultimately, it seems like he is buried on the step chart. And then you look at Charbonnet, he's probably a pure handcuff. In games where Ken Walker and him played, Charbonnet averaged like 4 touches, I believe the stat was. I do think this will be a bit more of a 1A, 1B, given how banged up Ken Walker was all preseason, how much this coaching staff raved about Charbonnet. He's strong as an ox. It was one of the quotes. Here every day, true professional, smart. Like they went out of their way to consistently praise Charbonnet. And I love the zone blocking scheme. So if he's getting meaningful work, even if it is only 12-ish carries, that's going to be enough to do some damage in this zone scheme. But I do think he's still, until I see otherwise, more of a handcuff than an actual viable 1B. There are definitely a chance for him to pan out that way. So all I have to say, I think Jordan Mason's my favorite bet here because at least you know he's the goal line hammer. They've already come up with like saying flat out, we're going to run it with Jordan Mason when we get in close. Of an offense that I think is going to be pretty solid. So I think Jordan Mason, best bet for some scores here. And I like these other guys, certainly on the bench. I like what you did here, great value. It's not ideal necessarily right now, but the stashes you have are eventually, you got Bijan and somebody will step up to be your running back too. Whether he's on the roster right now or not, we'll see. But whether it's a Walker injury, Mason really is just clearly better than Aaron Jones. Maybe Caleb Johnson is faster than people expect ascending the depth chart. You've got a ton of options here. It's a very nice 0 running back roster. I would say like check for Eckler, check for Chubb. In shallower leagues, I've seen those guys out there. Those could be some early season bets. Ollie Gordon be another running back to stash. I wouldn't start those guys in running back 2, but just to kind of be those bridges to the true upside of your team would be some guys to look for as well. Thank you so much. Great value for that super chat. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. All righty. We left off at Quincy. PPR, need 2 running backs, 2 flex, 2 wide receivers. CMC, you're playing. B-Rob, you're not playing B-Rob if you're playing CMC. So you're definitely playing CMC and Achane and Chase Brown. So we've got we got 3. Okay, so we got 6 spots to fill, though. So we got 3 of them, CMC, Achane, Chase Brown. You're definitely not playing B-Rob or Ollie Gordon. You're playing Trevion Henderson for the other flex. Your running backs are insane, Quincy. Well done. And then for the wide receivers, I would play Egbuka and Sutton myself of these options. I like your team a lot, though, Quincy. Great options. It's going to be a weekly headache for sure. You're welcome, Cali Trader. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Adam C. in PPR, would you flex Eckler, Kupp, Hunter, or Ford? I'm going Hunter all day there. A lot of intriguing, like, good floor guys, but then you got Hunter with that ceiling that could just wreck fantasy. San Fran or Baltimore D? Austin, definitely not the team that's facing the Buffalo Bills. That's Baltimore. So give me San Fran in that case. Tommy Hurley, half PPR. Marvin Harrison or Dobbins at the flex. Have McCaffrey. So I was thinking about holding Dobbins to slot in at running back if he's out. I like Dobbins there. I do. I'm just not a Marv guy. Saints, though, bad secondary. Like if Marv's going to do it, it would be today. A little more juice to Marvin Harrison too, Tommy Hurley. So if I had this choice, I'd probably go Marv, but I'm not a Marv guy. This is another league, it looks like, Quincy. So, Quincy, one thing I'm going to ask of you, you're not benching Derrick Henry. So I love that you're asking questions, you're here interacting. A way to make it faster for everybody is don't ask about Derrick Henry. Like I see another question with Derrick Henry or CMC, like these guys that you know you're not really benching. Limit it down. Like this question over here, this is just like important for the rest of the season for everybody out there, right? Like you know you're not benching Achane or CMC or Chase Brown. So you could have limited this one down to like flex and 2 wide receivers and then cut it down to the rest of the guys, right? You know what I mean? So let's improve our question etiquette is what I'm saying here. But thanks for being here. So you're definitely playing Henry. You're playing Pollard. You're playing in the flex Dobbins. This one is trickier, but again, you could have cut out Henry from this one at minimum. So Henry, Pollard for the running backs, Dobbins for 1 flex. And then I'm going to go Jacoby Myers for 1 receiver. I'm going to go T. Higgins for sure for the other receiver. And then Travis Hunter for the final flex spot there. Better stash, Leggett or Thornton? I like Leggett. I like Thornton better there, Giuseppe Russo. Stephanie Knowles. PPR, should I put Egbuka, Hunter, or Trevion? Love all 3 options, Stephanie. I do lean Egbuka here. It's tough. It's very close, but to me, he feels like safer and steadier with a high ceiling as well. Whereas we don't know exactly how much Trevion's going to get. We don't know exactly how much Hunter's going to get. Should be a full-time receiver, as they say, but I like Igbukwe there. Hey, just subscribed. Thank you so much, Matt, and anybody else out there. 2,400 of you here. Would love to have as many of you come to the channel as possible as we make that climb towards 5K. Thank you so much. And if not, a thumbs up button, a heart button really does help us get out to more people. Thank you so much for that, Matt. Alrighty. We are at – sorry, I just lost my place for a second. RKT Waddle or Travis Hunter? I'm going to go with Travis Hunter over Waddle. I think you super chatted that one earlier. Like, share, and sub people best in the biz here. Thank you so much, Giuseppe. Tim Cox, need help with flex, Dobbins, Pollard, Andrews. I'd go Pollard there. I have the same exact question between Dobbins and Andrews myself. I actually have all three of these guys, Tim Cox. I need one for running back and then one for flex. And personally, I'm going Pollard over Dobbins at running back, and then I think I'm going to go Andrew over Dobbins myself. I don't know, though. Very tough, especially in full PPR, though. With no likely, I do think Andrews has a big night tonight. Fully healthy entering the year is going to be big. RKT, please stop spamming, but thank you again for those super chats earlier. Debo or JMO? I'm going to go JMO, Eric, Mr. Lurky, Schaefer, and I'm going to go Igbukwe over Pearsall for those. Good questions. Golden, Eckler, or Chubb in the flex? I'm going to go with Golden, Austin Firster. The Golden Boy is where I am leaning. We had a few more super chats come in. Thank you so much, Frosty. Half point flex, Jayden Higgins or Olave. I'm definitely going to go Olave. I am intrigued to see what Higgins and Noel do with no Christian Kirk today. But Olave, we know he's a slot wide receiver for a Kellen Moore offense that should be high paced, a lot of plays run. Always top 6 in pace and plays every single year for Kellen Moore. And his slot receivers typically get peppered. So I like Olave there. Much safer. We know who he is. We know he can ball. The issue with him is injuries and risk, but when he's on the field, he typically balls. And so I'm going to go with Olave there, Frosty. Krana Shaw, Coker's in the IR, stash Ollie, Eric Ayo Manor, or Dante Thornton. Thank you so much, Krana, for the super chat. I'm surprised there's not a food question attached to this one. I'd go with Ollie Gordon as my favorite stasher. I love all three of these. You're highlighting three of my favorite pickups for everybody out there. 2,469 of you. These three pickups are great. I do lean Ollie as the best. Led 3 straight games in preseason rushing. I believe he ended up with like 190 yards on like 40 total touches. Looked less than 40 touches, like 30 touches. The guy was a beast. Clearly outplayed Jalen Wright, who then got hurt anyways. So he's the clear number 2. I know this Miami team. There's a big question. Which Miami team do we get, right? Is it 2 years ago that we were top 3 in yards, top 3 in points, top 3 in rushing? Raheem Mostert leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns, right? Both him and Devon Achane finishing top 5 in running back points per game. We have seen why I'm highlighting is it's not that long ago, 2 years ago, we saw 2 top 5 running backs in points per game come from this Mike McDaniels offense. The line does worry me. Achane's definitely going to be the clear starter. I think there is definitely a path for Ollie, even without an injury, to be a viable fantasy play. And then if there is an injury to Achane, you're talking about a top 6 running back potentially in fantasy. So to me, for stashing, Ollie Gordon, hands down the guy. Love Elic Ayomanor. Huge fan of him. Love that he hung 13 catches, 190 yards, and 3 touchdowns on Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick when they met out of Stanford. Great product. And I love Thornton, of course. You guys have heard me rave about him quite a few times here. All 3 of these guys are favorite sleepers of mine, but to me, Ollie Gordon is my favorite stash, Krana. Thank you again so much for the super chat and for the support. We left off at Will, but I believe you super chatted this, and I said Travis Hunter over Harvey and Ridley. Travis Hunter, Jennings, or Golden. For Dan Moore, I believe you super chatted this as well, and we went on Hunter. And then Swift or Henderson, I would go Henderson, Dan Moore, over Swift. If I skipped that one earlier, I apologize as well. The Figure Report morning. Happy first and best Sunday of the year. So excited, Figure Report, to see all the new action, all these rookies. Let's go. Need 2 out of 3. Olave, Debo, RJ. Thanks. I would go Debo and I think RJ Harvey out of this. If it's full PPR, I might pivot to Olave because I think he's going to be a target hog. But personally, I go to Debo and RJ Harvey for that one, Figure Report. John needs 2 non-PPR, half. Non-2PR, sorry. Hall, Dobbins, Sampson, Caleb Johnson, Ramondre, or Benson. Non-PPR, you're chasing touchdowns. I got to go with Hall and Dobbins, though. I was kind of leading into Hall might not be the best touchdown bet against the Steelers, but then you look at the other options, and they're all number 2 running backs at best on their team. I mean, technically, Mondre might be the starter, but we know Trevion's the real guy there, right? So I'm going to go with Hall and Dobbins as the best 2 options there. Ron Smith, pick 1 PPR. Buka, Wilson, DJ Moore, Warren, thanks. Thank you for clarifying on Warren, too. The first person I said I'll do that. I'm going to go with Egbuka as my favorite option of all these. You guys have heard me say this is the Egbuka show today, apparently. All in on Egbuka, 10 spots above ECR. I just see that game shooting out. I think it's going to be beautiful. So, yeah, I'm going with that one. All righty. We are on be growing stuff. All righty. I have Evan Ingram at tight end. Would you drop Loveland for Thornton? I don't think so because I'm very intrigued to see what Loveland does. Love the Ben Johnson offense. Love what he did with Sam Laporte as a rookie. And I think that Loveland might be an even better prospect there than him. So I'd rather have Loveland on my roster. I still want Thornton on my roster, be growing stuff, but I would not drop Loveland to do it. Already down big. Does Waddle or Metcalf have a higher ceiling? I guess the higher ceiling is Metcalf. Like he is Aaron Rodgers next to Devontae Adams. He's peppered 15 times. He gets 2 touchdowns. That's the higher ceiling. Do I buy it? No. I'd rather play Waddle. But if I'm going strictly for ceiling in your situation, Alex, like I need somebody to absolutely erupt. To me, Tyreek Hill's the guy there for Miami. If there's going to be an eruption of these 2, it's probably Metcalf. RKT, we're going Jayden Daniels for sure. Into our life, full PPR. Need a flex spot. Swift, Golden, Adunze, or Jamo Williams. All righty. I would say, oh, man, a lot of good options here. I love all these plays. I like Jamo, fresh off the big contract. Again, you can hear the announcer. The $83 million man catches a 90-yard touchdown. Like, I just feel that in my bones that he's going to catch one. As much as I like all these options, give me Jamo. The safest is Swift. You know you're getting 15-ish touches Monday night. Probably going to do pretty solid with him. But I like Jamo there for sure. Does Deebo Samuel thrive against a tough D-line or struggle? I mean, if anything, Pete Rice, I think the tough D-line is like dink and dunk time. We're high under pressure. We got to go. So I think that's going to be the case. And it is 9:46, so I am going to fire up a rapid fire mode here, starting a 15-minute timer on the side. So we go right up to 10 o'clock. That is started. Wolfpack, I'm going to start it in 1 second. Wolfpack, one last call for that thumbs up, that heart button. If you have found this helpful, please consider subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. My rankings will be live at rotostreetjournal.com for free. They're all up there for you. You can go check out that, again, rotostreetjournal.com for my rankings. They'll be updated after the show, after everything we've talked about. I like to go in and update. So at this point, I am starting the 15-minute timer. We are going to rapid fire it up. Let us go. Congrats on the launch, Mason or Ridley. I'm going to go with Ridley over Mason on that case, despite the tough matchup. Henderson or Walker in standard for Dave Clark. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. If he's healthy, you got to roll with it. Golden or Pearsall, half PPR. Great to see you. Bulldog. I'm going to go with Pearsall very, very, very slightly, like one spot out of them. Don Moore, Travis Hunter, Jennings, or Golden. I am going to go with Hunter, and I'm going to go Swift. I'm going to go with Henderson over Swift. Streams what makes you feel like football is officially back. Misty Spencer, so kind of you. Makes me feel like I'm back, too. I love talking to you guys every Sunday morning. Thanks, Answer Bud. Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely. CMC a start? Absolutely. He sure is. Yes, your fan. Sounds like he was a huge part of the walkthrough yesterday. Jack Johnson. Huge fan of your music, Jack. 2 QB league. Lamar, Daniels, Fields. You're definitely benching Fields. Come on. Totally not joking. Yeah, okay, good. Just for week 1. Yes, sir. Shock. Pick one. Half PPR. Shock and awe. McLaurin, Igbuka, or Jamo. I'm going Igbuka, shock and awe. The answer of the day is Igbuka today. So let's go. Come on, Igbuka. Hammering him at plus 225 touchdown as well. Waynish Alder, need help. Half PPR flex. Start Ford or Judy. I would go with Judy there. I think we saw Amari Cooper be a number 1 receiver when he had Joe Flacco. Commander's game is expecting rain. It doesn't change anything for me. If you need help week 1, you've already lost. Quit now. It's fun to ask people, though. I totally love touch that. Just saying, hello. That was Tomas with that super chat earlier. Harvey, Hunter, Ridley. I would go with Hunter. You super chat that one anyways. Number on DGen. Travis Hunter or Dunze. I'm going to go with Hunter there. That's wild, bro. I don't know. Oh, yeah, the car. Yeah, thank you, guys. Very, very wild. Sucks again. But thank you so much for all the super chats, helping me boost up the funds to go get a new one. Arby's went faster than expected. Would you drop Eckler for a dart throw? No, I would keep Eckler because he's just nice and safe for now. Let's go, Fatty Mateo. Full PPR flex. Have a decent lead after Thursday. Brees or Jacoby? I feel like Jacoby full PPR probably a little safer than Brees myself. James Cook or Waddle in the flex. I'm going to go with James Cook for sure, RKT. Half PPR. Start Ken Walker or Scary Terry. I'm going with Ken Walker the third. When he's out there, he's in your lineup, and I love the zone scheme here. Ryan Rodell, Jerome Ford, or Chris Olave. Need one for the flex. I'm going to go with Chris Olave in that Kellen Moore offense. Zach Nanabubu. Start one in PPR. Travis Hunter or JMO. Currently projected to win by 15 with JMO. Keep JMO in. I like JMO there, but I love them both. Yak. PPR. Need a running back and flex. Henderson, Swift, Pearsall, Dobbins. I would go with Henderson, and I would go with Pearsall for the flex. Joe Buttafuku. Travis Hunter or Debo? I'm going Travis Hunter there, even in full PPR. Yeah, absolutely. We got people helping each other out, which is great. Even if you had Brian Thomas, though, I'd stick with both Jags. Let them rip. Sylvester White, pick 2, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunter. I am going to go Travis Hunter and DK Metcalf for that one. One last call for that thumbs up with 2,500 of you here. I don't know if we've ever hit this number. So great to see. Thank you again so much for being here, folks. Live every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Tillman or Ridley? I'm going to go with Ridley there, Joe Castles, despite the tough matchup. Cheyenne Perkins, half PPR. Tet McMillan or Trevion? I'm going to go with Tet, but I love them both. Sarah Riley, good to see you. Zay Flowers, Aaron Jones. I'm going to go with Zay. And I sit Metcalf as well. I'm not a big fan of Metcalf myself. Jameson Williams. Also, some people are helping each other out. You're welcome, Will, as well. Thank you for using those manners. Terry, Tet, Igbuka, Sutton. Which 3.5 PPR for Gerard? I would be benching Terry out of these ones for sure. Arg like a pirate. Okay, I thought it was R Cannabis. Good. I think all last year I said AR Cannabis, and then you were like, it's ARG. All right, ARG like the pirate. There we go. Lucio Ranelli, half PPR. Henderson or Igbuka? I'm going to go Igbuka very slightly over Henderson. Sorry, must have missed it. Do I go Dobbins or Monty? If you're starting Gibbs, I'm going with Dobbins, Mr. Russo. Half PPR. Please, Lucio, don't repeat your questions. Mean coverage. Thank you, sir. I have some faith in Radler if he's out there. I do too. We'll see. And I have faith in Shell. I really do like Olave. Half PPR. Start Ken Walker or Scary Terry. We're going with Ken Walker. Tet McMillan or Henderson? I'm going Tet. Please don't repeat those questions. If I have Ford and Sampson, do I play Sampson over A. Jones? No, you play A. Jones for sure. Should I add Kyle Monunga? I absolutely like Kyle Monunga. It depends who you're dropping, Brian, but yes, I'm with you. I think he does break out. Week 1 is here, baby. Let's go, Steve Weber. Micah Alexander Mitchell. Start 2. Terry, Jameson, DK, Pearsall, Diggs. I would go with JMO, and I would go Terry, I think. Jerome Ford, Calvin Ridley, Josh Downs, or Jacoby Myers for the flex. I am going to roll with Jerome Ford there, Ryan. McCaffrey is playing indeed, buzzer feed. As far as I know, there's no official active yet because they're at 4, but it sounds like all the signs are trending towards it. Better stash Tesla or Thornton. I like Thornton better myself, Sawyer. Love them both as stashes, though. Got lucky already with Hollywood and Allen. Let's go, Robert. Great way to play. Thank you again, Matt, for that super chat. And I'm glad you're part of the channel now, too. All you out there, please do consider hitting that sub button. Let's get to 5K the first week of the season. Let's do it. Ryan, Marvin Harrison, Chuba Hubbard, Trevion Henderson, DJ Moore, or Tet McMillan for flex. Very shallow league indeed. I like Chuba the most of these options. Would you play Dobbins in the flex over Pearsall? No, I would not start them both, Ethan. I would play Pearsall there. And eventually, maybe you are starting them both, though. William G. Flex 2 of 3. Pearsall, Debo, or Diggs. I'd be benching Diggs in that case. William. Flex, Tet McMillan, Igbuka, or Henderson. I would be playing Tet on that one, Will. Very good question. Jared Beeson, Jacoby Myers, or Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter for me. I'm going to go Henderson over McLaurin myself, even in half, even in full, whatever setting. I'm going to go Henderson there. 2 running backs, Harvey, Tracy, or Warren. I'm going to bench Jalen Warren there, row me. Fields or Lawrence and flex full PPR, Pearsall or Igbuka. I would be going Lawrence over Fields, and I would be going Egbuka over Pearsall in that one. Bass head. I have T-Law at QB, Taylor and Brown as backs, Neighbors and Ladd as receiver 1-2, Njoku tight end, and I can flex either Pearsall or Ford. I would like Pearsall for that one. Country bumpkin. I would go DK Pearsall or Egbuka. I would go with, it's 9:42. We have a super chat too. I would go with Egbuka Country. We got a super chat from Kristen. Man, thank you so much for your generosity, Kristen. You still get to cut the line, of course, with those super chats, even in a rapid fire. 2,600 of you. Love to see it. Full PPR, flex, Connor, Judy, Aaron Jones, Loveland, or Ollie Gordon. Got to go James Conner. I know the injury risk is real with him, but as long as he's out there, he's always a low-end to high-end running back one. Saints are not a scary matchup at all. He should steamroll them. Judy's the closest option for me, but it's not even that close. I am 100% Kristen rolling with James Conner and a good matchup against a bad San Fran team. I think that is a great option myself. All righty, we're at 9:42. So let me, we're getting close. We might get through this whole thing, but Country Pushmill, thank you again so much, Kristen, for the super chat. Montgomery, Chris's videos, Cup, Dobbins, Eckler, or Olave in my flex. I am going to go Olave, I think. Now, I go Montgomery, get the touchdown. No, Dobbins, I don't know. I'm going to go Olave there. Full PPR. I just saw the setting. I was going to ask. Full PPR. Perfect. Robert, Ollie, Ford, Sampson, or Jones. I'm going to start Ford there, and I'm going to start Jones. Ford and Jones. PPR flex, Pollard, Myers, both in rain, or Egbuka. I go Egbuka for sure. I like Egbuka over both of them. Denver, Colts, Falcons, Ravens against the spread. And you've got some betting takes there. There you go. Scary Terry or Tyreek. I would go with Tyreek myself, Jeff Rogers. PPR, we got another super chat. So AJ Lee, we're going to jump you and go on over to Dame. What's going on, Dame? Thanks so much for the support. Need to flex. I have Ridley, Thielen, Dobbs, Hunter, Michael Wilson. And even if I'm in a rapid fire, I will slow down for super chats too. In a PPR league, need one flex. Should I start Chubb or Mims? So Dame, this is what I would say is what's your situation now? Are you a heavy favorite, or are you down big, right? Like, did you start Worthy, you have 0, and now you really need points, or did your opponent start Worthy and now you're in a good spot? Like, if you're over, I would put it this way. You know how they do the projections, right? Which I don't fully buy. But if you're a 60% or better favorite right now, I'd play Chubb. He's going to start at running back. He's going to get 15 to 20 touches, probably going to get 8 to 10 points. He falls in the end zone, and you got like 15. Love it. Nice and safe. If I'm a heavy underdog right now, if I got smashed, I played Pickens, and I faced Jalen Hurts, and I'm down big, and I don't like the rest of my team, Mims is the one I can get like 25. Chubb's not going to get to 25. I mean, at his best, it'd be like a Javonte Williams 2-touchdown day, and he gets to like 17. But Mims, we've seen 30-point days out of, right? So I think Mims is far more risky to get you to 0. So without knowing your situation, without knowing the context there, Dame, most cases I would probably lean Chubb and go the starting running back. But if you are anywhere under 40% to win your game, then Mims is the big blow-up guy, and you roll with that. But I want to give you a firm answer. It would be Chubb, unless you're a heavy underdog. Thank you so much again, Dame, for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. We were at 9:42. Thank you again so much, guys. 27 super chats to kick off the year. 2,647 of you here. Love to see it. You guys are the best. One free way to support your boy with 4 minutes left is that thumbs up button. And .com. So go check out the website after the stream. I will make sure they are fully updated for Sunday morning. And we left off with, I believe we were at, here we are. Hunter Adunze. Golden, thanks. I would be benching Golden begrudgingly. I love all three options, AJ Lee. Basshead, T-Law, and Brock. Who would you start? I'd go Brock Purdy. Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, Jeff. I'm going Chuba Hubbard for sure. CMC can't go. Probably going to go Jeff, but if he can't, I'd go Pollard over Mason. PPR flex, Pollard, Ford, Myers, or Egbuka. We're going Egbuka. San Fran might stink the bed today. I don't think so. They'll be ready for Seattle. Why Seattle suddenly scary, Chrono? I don't know about that. With Kyler listed as ill, I do like the run game, by the way, Chrono, so maybe they do take him off guard, but I'd be surprised if San Fran doesn't also show up. With Kyler listed as ill, what a loser. I hate Kyler. I would maybe you go JJ. Screw Kyler. What a little baby. He's ill. Ugh. Pearsall, Tillman, Thornton. He played too much Call of Duty and had a few more slow-dos last night. Oh, he's ill. Robert Christensen, Pearsall, Tillman, Thornton, or Dobbs. I go Pearsall for that one for sure. Jeff, please stop spamming. Sports writers say for Country Big Well, he's been on his routine all summer and now has started, must be reported, said 17 plus touches. There you go. Thank you for updating us, Country Bum. Jessica Handler, JMO or McMillan. I would go with McMillan. I love them both, though. I love them both, especially in full PPR, though. I like that. JMO says Romeo, but we'll see. If you need advice, shut up, Ted. Jeff is definitely spamming. Half PPR, flex, Tyrone Tracy, Ramondre, or Olave for Mike. I would go with Olave in this case. Pearsall, Hall, or Swift. I'm going to go with Pearsall for that one, Jessica. Standard score, pick one, Jennings, Hunter, Garrett, Wilson. I am going to go with Hunter for that one. Big play, full-time wide receiver today. Isaac Scherzer, need help. Start two wide receivers, Myers, Henderson, Golden, or DJ Moore. I would go with Henderson, and I would go with DJ Moore, very slightly over Golden there. Simon Legg, Tucker Kraft, or Tyler Warren week one. I'm going to go with Tyler Warren. Love them both. Tony Pollard, Downs, or Golden. Full PPR. I'm going to go with the Golden boy, baby. Let's go. Cats took over. Jennings, Oral. I do like Tony. Actually, Tony Pollard's way safer. I'll go Tony Pollard, unless you need that blow up of Golden, but I'm going to go Tony Pollard there. Ocean View Coffee Shop, Jennings or Olave. I would go with Olave in that one. Isaac Scherzer, need help. Start two. Myers, Henderson. Oh, we already did that one. Please don't spam. Jacoby Myers or Cup. Only reason is because of rain in New England. It is raining. I'll tell you that. I'm not playing here in New England. But it doesn't look like that horrible. It's kind of like a drizzle. I'm not in Foxborough, but it's not that bad, Logie. I would go with Jacoby. Need two to start. Pittman, Ridley, Eckler, Monty. I am leaning Monty and Eckler, honestly. Those receivers make me nervous with the matchup for Ridley and Pittman. Let's see what the Daniel Jones experience looks like. Tillman versus Cincy, Pearsall. I'd go Pearsall for sure in that case. David John Bohr, last minute here, Wolfpack. David John Bohr, Travis Hunter, or Jamo Williams, flex PPR. I'd go with Travis. I'm going Jameis Williams. Love them both, though, for sure. Phil asking Ridley, DK, Pittman, or Jordan Mason. I am going to go DK Metcalf for that one, Phil. Will Marvin Harrison Jr. be affected by the Kyler news? I mean, maybe he's better without Kyler, honestly. Kyler sucks, David. But no, however you had Marvin Harrison, I don't think I'd change it. I think their backup's Nick Mullins, actually, which would be better if it is. I'm not positive, but I think it might be. Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford, or RJ Harvey. I would go with RJ Harvey for that one, Todd Culver. Austin Firster, Brenton Stranger, Caleb Johnson in the flex. Missed what you said on San Fran. You're going San Fran. You're not playing Baltimore against Buffalo. Come on, Austin. And I would go Brenton Strange because I don't think Caleb Johnson's going to sniff the field much today. Garrett Wilson or Olave for flex full PPR. Give me Olave, baby. We're back, Lee. Dobbins or Hunter half PPR. I'm going to go with Hunter for that one. Got a sleeper tight end for the bench. Colson Loveland, if he's somehow out there, instant karma. I do like I love stashing. Oh, what's his name from the guide? There's quite a few here. I'm going to pull up my draft guide, and that is going to be the last question here for us. But I'll read you all the sleeper tight ends from the guide because at this point the guide is not going to be bought. Tight ends. So I love Hunter Henry. I love Harold Fannin. I love Elijah Arroyo. Fannon's the one I wanted to toss out there for sure. But thank you guys so much for being here. There's a small mailbag. I'll rip through 5 more of these real quick for you. There's only like a 5 or 6 left. 60% favorite. Goose egg from Worthy. Have PPR. Need one flex from Warren, Swift, Dobbins, plus Pearsall. James, go. So many different things, like weird symbols in there. I'm gonna go JMO the best, then Swift, then Pearsall would be there. I would go Love, and I'm only going an extra minute because I was late today. Go Love over Fields. I would go Sutton I would go Egbuka over these, and then I would go Vikings defense, and I would go for DJ Moore, Ridley, Pearsall, Hunter. I would go Hunter, Christian. Love the rapid fire. So that's at the end. The last 20 minutes, I go rapid fire. Eckler, Etienne, or Cup. I go Eckler and Cup, Jennings, Ford for flex. And that is going to be the last one because the timer. I set an extra minute for you guys. A bunch more questions keep coming in. So I would go with Jennings here. But yeah, awesome. And people, I would shout Mason Taylor as a nice sleeper tight end as well. 3 other questions. We'll do the whole mailbag for you. Why not? Love you guys. On the way out, hit that thumbs up. But we'll wrap up. Please do consider subscribing, hitting that like button. So going a little extra over here for you guys because I love it all so much. 2 flex, 4 options between Wilson, Debo, Kupp, and Eckler. I'd go Garrett Wilson and Debo for those ones. Darius, Chubb, Tank B, or Eckler. I would go with Eckler. And for the full PPR especially, I would go Swift over Harvey. I'd go Harvey over Tracy, and I'd go Samuel over Pearsall. Alrighty, guys, that wraps it up. These rankings will be updated at rosestreetjournal.com. 2,700 of you here, a record number. What an amazing week 1. Go out there, get the week 1 win, Wolfpack. Thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up, that heart, all that good stuff. Hit the subscribe on your way out. Best of luck in week 1. Go kill it, guys. In a world full of fancy sheep, be the wolf. We'll be live again on Thursday for the next pregame. Later, guys.